abilities. Yeah, I've never done anything like that before. And now that we can see it's working as I had intended, we'll just have to keep our eyes open to see if we can find any giant sea life. And then of course I suppose we'll have to hope it swims into this area here, which is a bit of a limiting factor. Kinda stinks, but oh well. Well, you know, I guess that about does it for the fortress. We have proven that we can make a fortress out here on the water. It's something I've not done before. And secondarily, we have also figured out a way to trap ocean life down here underneath the fortress. And so I guess the only thing left to do is just to wrap this place up. Although I'm gonna be frank with you, my bastards, I am left wanting. I mean, you gotta admit, it would be pretty difficult to leave the fortress right now. We haven't even seen it in action yet, and I would dearly love to catch something down underneath. On top of that, I mean, we did make a fortress platform out here in the water, but there's no actual fortress here yet. And don't you think we should really accomplish something in that direction? I certainly do. Yeah, you know, I think we're looking at one more episode of Arel Gulnas Kithil Migrer Rosar Naget Kar. Cause, I mean, I think we just have to. You know, I am seeing these fish down here. Herring. And it is tempting to close up the bridges and see if we can trap them, but they are considered vermin in the game, and they act a little bit different than normal animals. And so I don't think we can actually trap them in here. But that is another thing I would dearly love to try, because I believe we can use fisher dwarves to actually just catch them in animal traps. And then after we do that, I think we might be able to do something with them. Either butcher them up or possibly put them in an aquarium, which could be very interesting. In any event, I'm looking to toy around with that a bit farther, and also as some further tantalization. If you have a look up here on our platform, you could see a future farm plot up on this suspended terrace. It's filled with water currently, fed by these dwarves using buckets up top, and now that it's nice and muddy, we can actually grow crops here, and will no longer need access to the land. Very cool, right? In short order, we should have a fully contained fortress out here on the ocean, and I do greatly anticipate seeing it in its completed form next episode. The final episode of Arel Gulnas Kithil Migrer Rosar Naget Kar, Water Island, the wet ocean kingdom of fishers. And no, I do not intend on letting this go any farther than the next episode. That's gonna be it. Gonna cut it off. Okay? Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, my bearded bastards. Hello you bearded bastards, and welcome back once again to Arel Gulnas Kithil Migrer Rosar Naget Kar, Water Island, the wet ocean kingdom of fishers. Now you may remember that the dwarves here have just completed their odd coastal fortress, a structure out in the middle of the sea. Certainly a bizarre sight, yet here I am calling this structure here a fortress when it really is not. Just an unfinished wooden platform for the time being. This has to be our home. And so this episode we're going to be focusing mainly on turning this featureless platform here into a functioning dwarven home. We'll need places for the dwarves to sleep, a way to get food, a meeting hall, and all sorts of other amenities too. And I am just now realizing how much that entails exactly. Yeah, it's gonna take some doing, but that's fine. And also on top of making this fortress a home, we're also going to be keeping an eye on this underwater trap here, because I would dearly love to catch some enormous sea creature down here. Remember that just last episode we had spotted a basking shark, and how cool would it be if we managed to get our hands on that big boy? Oh yeah. definitely. I don't know how good our chances are going to be of actually catching one, but it's not going to hurt to keep our peepers open. So we'll have to see what happens on that. Anywho, the first thing I'm going to want to do is take this structure here and just tear down these wooden walls. I had intended for this to be a residential area, and we could just kind of build it upwards with a bunch of tiny rooms in it. But we are extraordinarily low on wood for the time being. And this whole coastal area is only very lightly wooded, so it's kind of difficult to get our hands on the stuff. But remember that we did discover a whole bunch of stone down this way here. And so stone is actually going to be much easier for us to get now. And so luckily it looks like we'll be able to have stone structures up here on the platform, which would be much better than wooden houses for dwarves anyways. Yeah, I'm pretty happy about it. Alright, and another thing I would really love to do is try to catch some fish. And I'm not talking about fishing, we've been fishing all along, but I can actually command one of my fisher dwarves, like Nil here, to catch a live fish. And you can see currently they're hauling an animal trap over to the dock, and well, it looks like they just placed it there. Oh, and they did. And there's actually a live salmon in the trap right now. Yeah, would you look at that? That's pretty cool. Huh, alright, well, what do you do with this? I've never done this before. Oh dear. Okay, that was a little foolish of me right there. I was trying to figure out what we could do with a live fish, and while I was doing that, it looks like a small band of goblins has arrived. Mildly terrifying, but there really aren't that many of them. Which I guess really isn't saying that much because they could still probably kill every single one of our dwarves. We have no fighters in the fortress at all. And on top of that, we don't have any weapons or armor either, so fighting them would be extremely foolish. Although, we do have ourselves an ocean-bound fortress platform over this way. Mayhaps we can use that to our advantage. Let's have a stab at it. Alright dwarves, quickly now, we have to get onto the platform. Like, extremely quickly too. Alright, yeah, here they go, quickly running out of the fortress. Come on, everybody, hurry up. Okay, that looks to be most of them. Checking back on the goblins, it looks like they are decimating our entire pasture full of creatures. Just wonderful, thank you very much for that, goblins. Bunch of bastards. And I will note too that I have locked up the fortress so the goblins can't get in there. Better safe than sorry, right? Oh, and here the bastards come. Looks like they're heading towards the bridge now. Okay, dwarves, you ready? I can get somebody to pull this lever over here, please. Thank you very much. And... oh! A couple of the goblins went airborne. Just a couple, though. Including the one I believe to be their leader, who is now dead, drowned. Excellent. Yeah, we could probably repeat this a couple times. Thank you. Bridge is once again back down. And here come the goblins. Let's get that lever pulled again. And there we go. And there goes the goblins. I think that might have been the rest of them, actually. Looks like we have 4 more down in the water. Excellent. 4 more dead goblins. And the rest are retreating. Wonderful. Okay, that was pretty quick. Good, good. Now then, where were we? I was just going to figure out what we could do with that live salmon. Damn it. Hold up a second here. Just noticed a combat report and it's Horsebreaker. One of my favorite dwarves in this fortress. And it looks like she was hit with some logs. But they didn't do any damage. Initially, anyways. But hold up a second. The logs were part of this construction up here, and she must have got hit by them when somebody removed a section of flooring. And so she fell through the floor and into the water. And now she's down here. Damn it all. Alright, there is no way she can survive from this. There's no ramps or anything nearby. I would try to pump the water out of this area, but... Oh, where'd you go? Would you look at that? Alright, well I guess she must have climbed up one of those supports and then up onto the dock. That is fantastic. I really did not think she would survive at all. Amazing. Why is everyone starving? That's not excellent. Why don't you eat? I think we have food. So what's the problem? Oh, I guess we don't. Just a ton of raw fish. I know we're still trying to figure out what we can do with a live fish, but this situation might be a little bit more dire. Just a moment. I'm going to build a ton of fisheries over this way here, and I'm also going to set a ton more of these dwarves as fishery workers, just so we can really try to get some fish very quickly. Alright, get to it, you dwarves, come on. You don't want to starve now, do you? Okay, here they go. Yikes, okay. I guess I'm still trying to learn the ropes when it comes to fisher dwarves. I don't use them all too much. And it must be that it takes a long time to actually process the fish, but not very long to catch the fish. And so they just kind of build up like that. I guess I'll have to be more vigilant. Alright, there we go. We can see dwarves grabbing some nice prepared fish and heading back to the yellow candies. Ooh, okay, that was a close call. Ugh, stupid. Well, let's hold up a second here. Oh, would you have a look at this? It's a giant crab. That's pretty cool. Alright. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. Fish is nice and all, but the dwarves are hungry, and I could think of nothing better than frying up this big bastard. And so I'll tell you what, we don't have any skilled warriors in the fortress, of course, but we do have a bunch of unskilled, hungry peasants. And so I'm gonna send them out. This creature can be a bit dangerous, I believe, but you know, I don't think it's gonna be that dangerous. Let's see. Alright, first off, I'm gonna have them group up down here by the workshops on the beach. Gather around, you hungry dwarves. A meal is incoming. Very good. And now that your gear is assembled, knives and forks, that sort of stuff, let's go get them. Alright, now we're watching the crab who is moving up towards the dwarves, who have begun to swarm downwards. Yeah, there are 40 unskilled peasants here, so I imagine they shouldn't have too much trouble. Although, I don't like that the crab's getting so close to the water. Ugh, and I certainly don't like that it's going out onto the dock. Come on. Oh, there we go. Someone's hitting it, and the crab is now enraged. Alternatively, we could have caught this giant crab and started up a crab breeding system, which might have been pretty nice. But there's no telling when we could find a mate for this big bastard, so whatever. And there we go, very good, easy enough. Good job, dwarves. Oh, you know, and this is interesting. Having a look at this butcher shop here, it appears that a dwarf is butchering one of the crab's feet. Huh, okay. I'd imagine there's some good meat in there, right? Well, I suppose we'll find out. Yeah, just one piece. Well, better than nothing. Now then, okay. Remember, we are still trying to figure out what we can do with a live salmon, right? Yes. Well, as it turns out, we can make a terrarium. By using some glass, I'm using clear glass, which is such a pain to make. We can go in this glass furnace and make a terrarium, which is very similar to a cage, I believe. And I'm pretty sure that by doing this, we can actually put that salmon into this terrarium and then fill it with water? Pretty sure that's how it works, but I suppose we'll find out. Alright, here comes a dwarf, getting some sand and some fuel. It's really such a pain to make clear glass, I'll tell you. And there we go. Okay, so now we have a clear glass terrarium. Interesting. And now looking back to our dock, well, I'm not sure what happened with that salmon. I guess a little time has passed, huh? And so we'll come back up here to the fishery and try to catch another live fish. Okay, here we go. Fisher dwarves in some traps, setting them on the dock. Oh, and there we go. We now have some more live fish, including a flounder, a squid, a spotted ratfish, and a herring. Very cool. Okay then. Well, not too sure how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to try putting this aquarium inside our new meeting hall. Just like this. And so somebody should grab it and place it in here, just momentarily. I really have no idea what I'm doing right now, just by the way. There we go, the cage is in place, and it looks like I can set it as an aquarium. Okay, very cool. We will do that. Now, what does that mean? Is somebody going to fill it with... Yeah, there we go. Somebody came right over and filled the thing up with water. Yep, 10 units of water. Very, very cool. But now what? Okay, we can assign creatures. Okay, and I guess we'll just throw all these animals in here. Looks like we have a hagfish now. Gross. Yeah, let's throw them all in. Hagfish, ratfish, flounder, herring, squid. I'm interested to see if this actually works or not. I don't see why it wouldn't, but I guess you never know. Oh, I think something's in there now. Yes, very cool. Somebody threw a hagfish in here. Yeah, just kind of chilling in this aquarium right now. I have never done this before. Huh. And so yeah, I assume other dwarves are going to grab the other fish and throw them in here as well. Yeah, I mean, it takes a little doing, but it gets done eventually. Yep, and there we are. We now have a shared aquarium filled with 5 different fish. Very cool. And an excellent addition to our new meeting hall, I'd say. Not too sure what, if any, benefit this will have for our dwarves, but, well, it's a nice touch regardless. Well, I suppose we'll have to get to work making some more aquariums now. It would actually be pretty cool to have a whole bunch of them just kind of lining the walls in there. Yeah, definitely. We'll get right on it. And while we're on the subject of our meeting hall and the structures on the platform, well, you can see the meeting hall is now, well, the floor is in place at least. But we still have to put a roof on that sucker. And then over next to it, you can see we have a farm plot platform that actually did not work out at all like I hoped it would, which is just a crying shame. You see, I had built some walls around this originally, and I had the dwarves go up there and cover the entire area with water, so that we can get it nice and muddy, which it is. The entire thing is now covered with a dusting or small piles of mud. And we were able to build a farm plot up there as well. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like we can actually grow anything in these farm plots. And I don't really know why. I've seen this happen a couple times and I don't really know the reason. I do have seeds available, so that's not the problem. It just must be the type of mud or something, I'm not too sure. But I'm not too concerned really, because there is a solution. We just have to wait till winter to put it into play. And then actually right up here to the north of the farm plot and meeting hall, we have our residential structure, which is now 1, 2, 3, going on 4 levels tall. And each of these little nooks here will be a dwarven bedroom with just a single bed and a door. That's it. It's going to be kind of sparse. But we don't have that much room on the platform, unfortunately, so we have to make do. Plus, as I said before, wood is at a premium around here. Very difficult to find this stuff. And on another unrelated note, if you look over here, you can see a giant horseshoe crab, which I was extremely excited to see a few months ago. But after it popped up over here, it has not moved a single inch and just kind of seems content to be in this area. I was really hoping to catch it underneath our fortress in that little fish trap thing. But, I mean, it's not moving. And so at this point, I'm really just hoping the winter ice kills it. Not much we can do about it, really. But that's okay because it is almost winter. And... oh, and there we go. Everything just froze up. Just wonderful. We're gonna have to get straight to work, dwarves. Now, first things first, we're gonna go over here to this spot on the ice. And I want to have my miners dig down through the ice to the ground, which will give us access to the sea floor. And I'm sure that'll be nice and fertile and we can actually grow farm plots down there. That would be an excellent solution to our farm plot issue. And additionally, I would like to come underneath our fortress and start work on yet another construction. Now, I'm thinking that we could actually build some catapults down here. And yes, I know ballista are so much better. I know, I'm aware. But I like to try things out. I figure if I could put some catapults down here, we can actually cram them in there, I believe. Because from what I understand, catapults cannot injure our own dwarves or our tamed animals. And so if we could just load this area full of catapults, like a whole bunch of them, then when we get invaded, they can shoot out underneath the fortress, over here towards the beach where the goblins are going to be coming from. If nothing else, it'll be a mildly interesting project. It should work out pretty well. Alright, checking on the farm plot, looks to be coming along. Yes, we're going to be attaching that farm plot to the actual fortress platform through this tunnel underneath the water. And we can also see there's a whole bunch more stone down here, which is excellent, especially if we're going to be having catapults up there. Okay, yes, the catapult battery seems to be coming right along. This lower section is going to be connected to the meeting hall up on the platform, just through this little stairway right here. Easy enough, right? Also, I figured I'd have this dock area in the middle if the dwarves want to do some fishing. Nice and safe, you know? Oh, and the farm plot area looks to be all set, good to go. Wonderful. Also, I did make the wall surrounding it 2 Z levels high, just in case we get invaded in the winter. I don't really want creatures jumping down in there. This will be a little safer anyways. And just because things seem to be going rather well and we do still have a bunch of time left, I'm going to start work over here on a new water cistern. Because of course the dwarves can't drink seawater. That wouldn't be good for them at all. No, we're going to need fresh water. And the way we could do that is by building a screw pump and then pumping that salt water out, which somehow cleaned it, believe it or not. And so we're going to build this area over here. You know, I'll actually explain it after it's done. It's going to be totally confusing to try to do it now. Just a moment. Alright, now having a look at the date, it is the 10th of Obsidian, late winter. And so we only have a couple of days left now until everything unthaws. Starting to get a bit dangerous here, but I'm not going to bother calling in the dwarves just yet. Yeah, keep working, dwarves, just be careful, alright? Maybe just stick to the bridge. 15th of Obsidian. Alright, actually, I did just set up a traffic route, so I'm really hoping dwarves only travel on the bridge now. That should be the case. And it does look to be. Okay, fantastic. Good job, dwarves. Okay, should be thawing out any second now. The spring rains have already started. There we go. Fantastic. Oh, damn it. Looks like we have another goblin siege here. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I'm really going to try to speed things along because I still want to catch something underneath the fortress. And I would want to see this, but we do not have any catapults yet. And that's what I'm really excited for. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. Well, straight off the bat, we can see they have trolls, which is not good news. I kind of wanted to put the dwarves in the fortress this time so they had at least access to food and drinks. But trolls won't have any problem getting in there. Well, it looks like our only option is going to be to take another platform run and just hope we're safe over there, I guess. Kind of really stinks though, because we already have trolls down here ripping apart dwarves. Ugh, yeah, that's nasty business. Big time. And it does look like we have some beak dogs here too, moving in towards the bridge. Oh, I guess the siege is a little bit bigger than I thought. Wow, holy hell, would you look at that? Alright, well, dwarves, get ready to pull this lever, like, quickly, because we're basically out of time. Alright, bridge is up. That takes care of a couple of beak dogs. Not bad. Bridge is back down. Come on in, goblins. And up once more. Couple more beak dogs down. Bridge is down again. Come on in. If you think you can make it, better be quick though. And, not quick enough. Idiots. Would you care to have another try? Come on, don't be shy. Tentative. Couldn't blame you. Well, and easy enough. There go the rest of the bastards. Running away already. Yes, I am coming to love that bridge. Certainly. Anywho, just gotta do a little bit of cleaning up here. There are still some trolls wandering about the area. Shouldn't be a big problem though. I don't think. Okay, there we go. Come on, die already, you damn thing. I told you we're not warriors. We need more dwarves. Pile on, you bastards. Okay, there we go. Although we still do have a couple others as well. Come on, dwarves, hurry up. There we go. Alright, anywho, we're gonna have to get back to work here. We have very little time to spare. And I'll tell you what, I'm actually gonna jump forward a little bit now, just so we can get the platform nice and cleaned up. And also, in the meantime, I'm gonna be keeping my eyes open for any big sea creatures. We have to catch something down below. At this point, it is our sole purpose. Anywho, yes, we'll get things cleaned up a bit, and I'll get right back to you. Okay, and we are back. And it really hasn't been all that long either. Although, my friends, we were saying earlier that we would really appreciate catching a whale underneath our fortress. Or some sort of a shark maybe, something cool, right? That is our sole purpose, remember? But, you know, we can't really bank on a big old sea creature just wandering down there. And so I've begun to set my sights a little lower, a little smaller. Have I piqued your interest yet? Now, I know a lot of people aren't gonna dig this, but a family of sea otters just wandered onto the map, and I think it would be just excellent if we managed to catch them. Don't you? I mean, we have to catch something in there. And if we can catch these things, then I'll count it as a success. At least we can have proved that this whole thing will work. Although first we're gonna have to hope that they wander underneath the fortress. If they don't, then, well, we're out of luck. We'll just give them some time here. Oh my goodness, you stupid things. Well, as you can see, they are up on the shore now. One of them just wandered into the fortress and must have got hit by something because it was throwing up all over the place. But it's down in the water once more. Okay, good. Although it does look like that group has been broken up. They were all traveling around together, but not anymore. Alright, no, it's not working. Been watching these little bastards for a while now, and they have no interest in going underneath the fortress. Couldn't say I blame them, but yeah, I just don't see it happening. Kind of a damn shame, really. I would have really liked to see our fortress in action, but it's not gonna happen. I know it's gonna work. If something did happen to go down there and we trapped it, then we could easily drain the water, go down there, and then butcher it up. Not gonna even be a problem. But I'm gonna tell you what, I'm sick of waiting. And on top of that, we do have some big problems down here in the fortress, like huge problems. I'm not too sure what's going on, really. Like, if you have a look here, you can see there are dwarves being interrupted by other dwarves, like, all the time. A mason interrupted by a milker, a child interrupted by a miner, a fishery worker interrupted by a child. I'm not too sure what is up with that. I have a feeling that something screwy happened down in the Yellow Candies, and it caused a couple of dwarves to kind of be enemies of each other. And yeah, it's getting everyone a little upset. In fact, I would like to keep holding up the facade that this fortress is going very well, but it most certainly is not. No, not at all. I mean, it's a lovely looking fortress, no denying. An interesting premise. There is no way this thing can last. We started everything way too fast. And it's taken like, what, 4 years for us to even get this right here? Yeah, these dwarves have had a very rough existence out here on the sea. Definitely. But that's the life you sign up for when you arrive here at Arel Gulnas Cathil Migrero Sarnaget Kar. We're a tough breed here. Down here. There's something I'd really like to try. You can see all of our catapults are in place now. Isn't that cool? And each one is currently loaded up with a shale boulder. Very nice, right? I'll tell you what, I really want to see these things in action. So, let's go for it. Man the catapults, dwarves. Alright, that's almost all of them. Gotta get one more body in here. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just gonna zoom out here. From what I understand, once again, these boulders should not kill our dwarves. They shouldn't, but let's see. Whoa. Hey, that was pretty cool, huh? Oh man. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I can't really say how effective they would be in combat exactly. And yes, I'm sure a ballista would do much more damage, but you can really cram a lot of these things in a small space. I don't really ever hear anybody talk about that aspect. I see possibilities. Gonna have to keep that in mind. Yeah, you know, I'm not too sure whether we should call this fortress a success or a failure, but I am inclined to say it's a success. Quite inclined, actually. We had fun, and that was one of my main goals, really. I mean, come on. And you know, seeing as how we're approaching the end of the episode, I think maybe we should just do a quick review of what we learned here at Abel Gulnas Kithil Migwar Rosar Ngetkar. Yeah, you know, I think that'd be a pretty good idea, actually. Well, first off, we learned how to make a platform fortress out on the ocean. Of course, it requires a winter season in the area where we intend to build our fortress. Without a winter, it would be completely impossible. And you know, as for the actual fortress itself, there are a lot of good ideas going on here, but not many of them worked. Well, first off, let's just address how many of the dwarves are angry right now. This place is crumbling quickly. The dwarves are in a terrible mood, and it's just because we got started way too quick on this place. It really would have been so much better if we just took it slow and kind of slowly built up the platform over time. But these guys did not have a proper fortress for about 5 years, and they still don't really even have a proper fortress, so I don't really blame them for being very upset. Although that being said, we do now have a nice, well-appointed meeting hall here, / tavern, and so that's nice. We have some fishery workshops over this way, and a ton of fish for the dwarves to eat, which is just excellent. Man, oh man, things are getting real rough in there. Ugh. We also have some aquariums up here, which you can see now are stocked with all kinds of fish, and surrounded by angry dwarves. We do have that well down here, which is fed from underneath by this cistern, which did not work out at all. All this water in here is salt water, which of course is not drinkable. It's just seawater. Turns out if you pump water through a screw pump, it does make it fresh, but if that fresh water touches any tile that has ever had salt water on it, then it will turn that fresh water and all surrounding fresh water into salt water. But luckily, before the cistern was entirely full, I was able to put a floor over all that salt water down below, and so this top level here is clean, drinkable fresh water, at least. And so, I mean, I guess it kind of worked. Well, we could see a dwarf and a human just fell down into the well. Okay, well, it's fresh water, it's going to taste like corpse water soon. Not excellent. Yeah, this place is going downhill pretty fast. Anywho, one of the coolest things we learned in our fortress is how to make a retractable bridge cage trap thing in order to catch large sea creatures, which we did not accomplish. But I'm telling you, it's possible. In fact, you know what? Just trying this out gives me so many more ideas that I might try out in the future. Not in this fortress. You know, if we had expanded it a whole bunch, you could really just kind of make a grid network of these bridges that cover the entire ocean. And then you wouldn't have to rely on creatures just happening to swim into a given area, and you could just kind of close off places where creatures are currently swimming. If you managed to pull that off, it would be very impressive. It would take some doing, but now that we have this fortress here, I can see that it's possible. Ah yes, regarding our second farm plot area, remember that first one did not end up working at all, and this one did not either. You can see it's covered with water right now in order to get the floor all muddy, but it's having that same problem that the last one was. It just has no seeds available for this location, which is a load of malarkey. We do have seeds, and I have no idea why we can't plant them here. Doesn't make any sense. This whole idea would have worked if I just went down underground and started making farm plots for mushrooms. I was just too stubborn. I was sure I could get these above ground crops to work, but alas, they did not. And so now the dwarves stuck out here on this platform have no access to plants with which to brew drinks. And so that's not great. I mean, we have fish, but nothing to drink. And we can't leave the platform either, because as you see, there is currently a large goblin army over here on the shore, just kind of waiting for us to put down the bridge, which we're not going to do because we're not insane. Although, alternatively, I suppose we could put the bridge down. Alright, and the bridge is down. There's just a single beak dog on its way. Oh, a beak dog that chased an outpost liaison back into the platform. Oh, fantastic. Oh, and here comes the goblin army. Oh man, that is huge. Can we pull this lever quickly, just to get that bridge up? What do you think? Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, definitely not. Well, here's something. We have all these beak dogs here, and goblins, of course. And we also have these catapults manned. How about we try that out? Might as well, right? Fire at will, dwarves! Joof! Here they go. I don't think any of those made it. I don't think a single one of those boulders even made it to shore. No, they did not. not a single one even hit any. It's literally a wall of enemies here. You couldn't hit one of them? My god. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. The main reason I made this fortress is because of that one that I had made in the intro. It's an ocean fortress very similar to this one, and people always ask me if I'm ever going to make one like that, and here it is. Although, that one in the intro has one aspect that, well, this one does not yet have. And so, just because it seems to be the end of Orelgul Nazcathil Sarnigit Kar, we'll need a dwarf to come down here and pull this lever. My dwarves, it's been an honor working with you. Would you look at that? Holy hell. That is such a mess. Oh, and look at that. All that ocean water is filling up this gap where the fortress fell down. That is amazing. All these beak dogs panicking, all these goblins. Yeah, you guys are goners. No chance for you. We even have these chambers underneath the fortress all filled up with seawater now. Yikes. And all these corpses too, they must have got blasted down here. Well, that's exactly what you get when you mess with dwarves crazy enough to build a fortress on the sea. Bunch of bastards. Gotta love it. Oh, and I just noticed the siege appears to be over. Excellent. To be expected, I suppose. Well, having a look at our status screen here, and it seems we only have a single person left living here. And that person is Datan, our mayor, the were-tortoise. Sitting in their tiny cell. For the rest of time? Could well be.
I need some more excitement in my life.
Yeah, I suppose I believe it. And unfortunately, I guess you're gonna have to entertain yourself for a while. Until sometime in the distant future when some hapless adventurer pulls this lever here, that is. A hapless adventurer perhaps in search of an artifact. The only one ever produced here in the fortress. A jet quern. Volaladad. Yes, it is almost guaranteed that at some point in the future somebody will happen upon the ruins of this oceanside fortress. Rumors tell of a section of beach that is littered with goblin and dwarf bones, intermingled in ghastly ghost-white heaps, like mounds of perfectly smooth driftwood. Or, who can say really? It might well be that this fortress does actually stand a chance at survival. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. It's intriguing, I tell you. It certainly does seem like a shame that we won't get to see the story unfold for this group of scrappy pioneers. But we gotta cut it off. Yeah. But I certainly do appreciate you joining me here in Orelgul Nazcathil Sarnigit Kar, Water Island, the wet ocean kingdom of fishers. And until next time, you bearded bastards. Well, hello, you bearded bastards, and allow me to welcome you to Tar N, the land of legend. We're here today in the familial continent, deep within the learned jungles. A tropical yet dry broadleaf forest. A very hot forest that is incredibly well forested and also has extremely thick vegetation. Now we can see here a small group of dwarves that just arrived to the area. Dwarves that belong to a civilization known as the Cave of Lashing. They call themselves Romekkedem, the Long Keys, and as their symbol they've taken a door with a three-pointed star upon it. Now the Long Keys find themselves in this jungle because they are looking to found a new fortress, a fortress known as Itar Igal, King Trap, and it is their goal to construct a fortress that can repel all invasions, every single one. Yes, today we're going to be taking a look at traps, and I am looking to build a trap that can repel everything, because I've gotten into this horrible habit of making traps that do not do very well, and originally I had done that on purpose, because, well, I mean, it kind of just seemed really too easy to repel invaders. But getting out of the roleplay thing here for a second, the current iteration of the game, it's kind of impossible to actually combat goblins or trolls or anything like that. And so it would be much more effective to have just a giant trap in your fortress that could just slaughter anything that came to attack you. And so I think it'd be really fun to try to do that today. I don't know if it's going to be successful, and as of this current time, I don't have any firm plans, but we're just going to try to use the resources in the area to whip something up. How does that sound? Now, I also made sure to get started here with a bunch of resources that are readily available to most dwarven embarks. Nothing too crazy. We don't have any animals here, except for the ones that pulled the wagon, and all of our equipment is pretty much standard. I did bring a few more drinks than usual, as well as seeds, but nothing other than that. And another thing I should note is that I made all of the dwarves just be peasants when we started out here, because in my opinion anyways, it's not necessary to have them start off with a high amount of skill in most labors. At the beginning you're mostly focused on mining, cutting down trees, that sort of stuff anyways, and their skills tend to build up pretty quickly. Just a little note there. And as for the resources we have on this map, you can already see we have a ton of trees in the area, so lumber is not going to be an issue, certainly. And we also have this brook here, which I do have plans for, but we'll get into that in a little bit. First thing we're going to have to do is make sure our dwarves have secure lodgings, which you've already seen are well underway. In the current version of the game, the best way to protect yourself is to make sure your dwarves are absolutely as happy as they can be, which is not an easy task. And so it's best to start off in that plan at the very beginning. Now, as you can see down here, I am starting work on the actual fortress, which is accessed through the stairway up this way. And that is intended to be just kind of a quick access route that I want to have open most of the time. I'm sure we'll add a few extra precautions though. But our main entrance will be a long, tunnel trap sort of a thing. I still don't have the exact idea planned out. And so basically the fortress is going to have two entrances. A main trapway for the invaders, and a quick expressway for the dwarves. Basically, initially anyways, we're just going to keep skipping forward until we have an actual secure fortress. It'll take a little bit of doing, but we're getting there. And once we get to the actual trap design, I'll slow it down a tad. How's that sound? Okay, we are back and things have advanced a little bit, but we're still not ready to get started on our trap. No, I am back because we've spotted a thief, and now we must protect the horde from skulking filth. That's right, if you look over this way here, you can see a kobold. There must be a colony of the bastards somewhere in the area. And now they've begun to probe our fortress here. Let's take a quick look at him, what do you say? A kobold. This one's name is Bakis. A kobold is a small, squat humanoid with large, pointy ears and yellow, glowing eyes. This particular one is incredibly skinny and has low cheekbones, a narrow nose, narrow ears that are splayed out, and yellow, sunken eyes. Its skin is brown. Yeah, these creatures can be a heck of a nuisance sometimes. This particular one is armed with a copper dagger that can really do some damage to a dwarf, and it's also wearing a loincloth and a tunic as well. So, no armor to speak of. Actually, this creature is quite small, and I imagine we should be able to scare it off fairly easily. Gonna advance time a little bit just to see what it does. Oh yeah, there it goes. It's just straight up running away, which is usually what happens when... Yeah, hold up, looks like we have another one. Yep, right over here. This one got a little bit closer to our fortress too, but not quite close enough, you little bastard. This one's name is Trickagidramin, and it is running off as well. Good. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to keep an eye out. We don't want any of our valuables taken. Certainly not. Alright, now then, anyways. Our fortress. Here you can see a little entryway, pretty much all set up. We have a trade depot here, as well as a couple of protective bridges that can be raised to protect the entryways. The roof up top is almost all completed, and then down in the actual fortress you can see that the meeting hall is all carved out, although we don't have any tables or chairs in place quite yet. That's because we've been working in the bedrooms, of which we have 20, and each has its own bed, cabinet, coffer, and statue. There are 2 levels of them. And then over here to the right you can see some looms and farmer workshops, storage for plants. Underneath we have some stills and kitchens, and then way up top in this clay layer here you can see the farm plots, and storage for seeds as well. So we're looking pretty good. We have had a couple of migrant waves at this point, so we're up to 13 dwarves. So we're going to have to start making some more bedrooms before long, I'm sure. But for now we're good. And so we can get started on our trap. Just not too terribly sure how to go about it though. I really want to make something that can kill all invaders very easily, and I also want something that can clean away debris very quickly as well. I don't want our dwarves having to wade through heaps of dead goblins and trolls. That will be no good whatsoever for our mood. Certainly not. And while we're at it, I also want to set up a couple of other parameters as well, because there are several ways that we can make an impenetrable trap, but a lot of the totally surefire ways are kind of boring too. Like we could just fill a narrow hallway full of bridges that would slam down on intruders, which would absolutely destroy them. Or we could just take a hallway and cram it absolutely full of traps. That would do the trick as well. But again, that is kind of boring. Just plain old traps. And so today we're going to be working on, well, I know it's not the most creative thing ever, but today we're going to have a drowning chamber. Okay? Which, yes, when you get down to it, is a bit simple, but I'm looking to jazz this one up a little bit. And I'm hoping that once it's completed, it will be able to solve all of our siege issues. Now, what we can see here are 4 large water tanks, which will be fed from the brook up above. And yes, if we are going to be relying on the brook, I assume it's going to take a while for those things to fill up. It's almost guaranteed, but I don't think we're going to have a winter in this area, so they should be filling all year round, just constantly. And so I don't really think that's going to be a problem. And once these are all dug out, down to this level here, you can see that we're also working on another canal that leads down to the south, which leads right here to this spidery array of tunnels, with channels at the end. And underneath these channels is our drowning chamber, which is, well, it's an elaborate design. I'll say that much. Now, what we have here are 2 winding, yet symmetrical hallways, which connect the fortress to this circular room, which will in turn be connected up to the surface. And the hope is that we can get goblins to come down to this area, and then kind of split into 2 groups. I don't know if that's going to happen. They tend to usually take the shortest path to the fortress, and so I'm hoping if we get them to go down the center of this room here, they'll kind of just split off towards each tunnel. And when they do, we'll have all sorts of nasty tricks and surprises waiting for them. More than just water, that is. We're going to want to put a little something extra in there as well. Gotta remember that water will not drown zombies. Not that there are any necromancers in the area, but if we did stir up some trouble with one, then we have to be prepared. Needless to say, this is going to take a bit of doing. Although if we don't experience any major interruptions, it should get done fairly quickly. And it looks like it has. Isn't that something? It didn't really end up taking that long at all, which is kind of surprising. Yes, you can see it's all carved out now, and really this fortress is in pretty damn good shape. We've only been around now for about 1.5 years, and we have already carved out this entire trap here, and on top of that, it's all set up too, like 100%. And now we're ready to take on some invaders, which is really crazy. Just gonna zoom in a bit here. The left tunnel is farther along than the right tunnel, and because I got a bit paranoid along the way while we were setting up the waterworks, I did load it absolutely full with stonefall traps, which I know aren't that good, but I figured if we got attacked by a small siege, then these would do the trick. Having a look up a ways, you can see our 4 water tanks, each connected up with these fortifications in between. 3 of them are full currently, and the 4th is filling as we speak. And it really didn't take that long for them to fill either. Kinda surprising, really. Oh boy, go figure. Our first big interruption. Well, I'm glad it held off anyways. The were-zebra Mathrus argampedodicem has come. A large zebra twisted into humanoid form. It is crazed for blood and flesh, and its eyes glow chartreuse. Now you will know why you fear the night. Oy, okay, here we go. Alright, well here it is up on the surface, to the north of the fortress. As I expected, it seems to be just heading down towards our animal pasture. And, well, I'm pretty hopeful that it's just going to spend its time out here killing all of our animals. Which still isn't great, but it's much better than killing our dwarves. Let's speed things along a bit. Yeah, for now it seems content just to remain up here, which is excellent. All the dwarves are down in the fortress as we speak. And yeah, I can't imagine this creature is going to get down to our fort. Nope, okay. Easy enough. Not a great outcome, but at least we have no infected or killed dwarves. Just have to hope that thing doesn't come back anytime soon. That was one of the things I was most afraid of, honestly. More than sieges. Damn werebeast can sneak in any time. And so I was planning on building just a small wall around our entire fortress. Nothing too crazy, just something to help slow down hidden werebeasts. We certainly do have enough wood in the area, that's for sure. Oh, and on an unrelated note, if you have a look over here, you can see our elephant. Yes, we do have a tamed elephant now that we got from the elves. They came to trade with us and we gave them some garbage, and they gave us this beautiful creature. I made sure to fence it in just for safety's sake. And it turns out that was a pretty damn good idea, or else it probably would have been seriously injured or possibly killed by that werezebra. Yep, very good. Gonna have to look for a mate for it. It'd be neat to get a whole bunch of these things, that's for sure. Anyways, as I was saying, our drowning chamber trap is pretty much good to go. And please note all of these drains on the sides. These are going to be used to dispose of the water after the trap is done. And I'm hoping it will flush out all the corpses and nasty stuff too. They lead down here, just below, to the caverns, which happen to be just beneath our fortress. Got kind of lucky with that, really. And now that our trap is done, well, I suppose we're just going to have to wait until something shows up that we can try it out on. But in the meantime, how about we get to know these dwarves just a little bit better? Really, I'm very proud of these dwarves. They've accomplished a whole heck of a lot in the short time they've been here. First off, let's have a look at the fortress. This here is the main level, with the bedrooms and meeting hall, and then up above we have more bedrooms, and some workshops, and we do actually have enough bedrooms for every single dwarf in the fortress right now, and we are at 64 dwarves. Yes, we're keeping up very well. Over this way here we have a new well going in. If you have a look down here, the cistern below is going to be 3 Z levels deep, and is going to be fed from this way over here, from our water tanks. After we carve it out, the overflow from the 4th tank will start filling up the well, and will provide us with constant clean fresh water. But I would like to get a floodgate in place first. And let's see, other than that, nothing too thrilling I guess. We have a little craftsdwarf station going on over here, currently pumping out loads of rock crafts. And we have some storage over this way, and some offices too. How very boring. Back up to the surface and you can see that things are advancing rather quickly. We now do have a wall around our fortress, as well as a shallow moat that we're going to get filled with water shortly. And there are 4 entrances in this outer wall, attached to the outside with these bridges, which are going to be linked up to a lever down in the fortress. Can't be too safe now. It should be noted that the wall and this road here are all made out of wood, because we do have so much of it, and because the elves are here again. I wanted to make sure that they know that this is our fortress, and these are our trees. Elves tend to be a pain in the ass for that sort of a thing, and I'm sure they'll be throwing a fit shortly, but to hell with them. If they don't like it, they can do something about it. I would dearly love to see them make an attempt. Oh, it looks like a small squad of goblins has arrived. A vile force of darkness. Indeed. There only looks to be 7 of them at the time being, and looking at their armor, they seem to be from the Blotted Dungeon, a nearby goblin civilization, a very powerful civilization. Well, what do you think, you bastards? You ready for this? I'm sure you think so. First things first, we're going to turn on a burrow, which encompasses the inside of the walls here, as well as the whole lower fortress area. And now we gotta hope that the dwarves can get back into the fortress very quickly. There are a lot of them over here hauling boulders, and so they're moving very slowly. Not good. And the goblins are moving straight in. Come on, dwarves, you're gonna have to hurry up. In fact, I'm gonna have to get somebody down here to pull this lever ASAP, or else those goblins are going to be in our fortress. I have a feeling some poor dwarf is gonna get smashed in that drawbridge down there, but let's just watch to see if we can get them closed in time at least. Okay, the gates are closed, and upon first looks anyways, it doesn't look like any dwarves were crushed. Must have got extremely lucky with that. Alright, the goblins are moving around the western side of the fortress, checking out our moat currently. Wish we could have got some water in there, but shouldn't be a problem. Yes, it looks like they're heading down south, to the entrance of our drowning chamber maze. Very exciting. Oh right, I haven't shown that off yet. Yep, it's just down here. You can see it's a small structure with a moat around it, secured with a bridge that is now open. I think that dwarf hauling the boulder went down there, and I sure hope he has a good head start on these goblins. And yes, it looks like they do. Very good. And I can see we've been decorating this chamber down here with a little bit of a design on the ground. Not too sure what it's supposed to be. And it's not quite finished yet. But you can probably notice that we closed up these bridges here just now, just so that dwarf can get a little bit farther ahead before we do anything. Oh, hold up a second here. Looks like one of our clothiers has gone missing. I'll bet they were smashing that bridge. Well, damn shame. Just a sacrifice you have to make, I guess. Now we're just waiting a moment here for this guy to get back to the fortress. Come on, hurry it up. Back up on the surface, it looks like the idiot goblins are wandering around trying to figure out a way to get into the fortress. Good luck with that, you bastards. Although looking at these trees around here, it makes me a little bit paranoid. I don't want them trying to jump over the wall, that would be very bad. And well, looking back down at this guy here, they're far enough along. Let's open the bridge. There we go. Okay, the way is now open. Although I do have a feeling we're not going to even have a chance to drown these guys. They might just get killed in these stonefall traps. And looking at the goblins, they appear to be headed straight for the maze. Very good. We'll wait for them down here. Alrighty, and here they come, entering the drowning chamber hall, and already triggering stonefall traps, which seem to give them some pause. They're running back out of the hallway. Up the stairs. Are they really running away? They can't be, right? Like, you guys can't be serious. Oh, no. Okay, looks like they ran back up to the other group and made sure they're coming down too. You bunch of cowards. Get in there, will ya? Okay, here they go once more. Tentative, waiting, running away again. Get in there, come on. These cowards over here. Yeah, they don't want to go down there at all. Guess I couldn't blame them. What the hell are you doing? Oh, but what's this? The other bridge just opened. Would you care to have another try, goblins? This hallway might be clear. And here they come, the idiots. Well, I don't see any traps down this way. Just the one group or the other ones? Looks like they're heading to the left. Okay, this is something I wanted to see. I wasn't sure if the goblins would actually split up when they got to these hallways, but it looks like they are. Fascinating. Oh, and what's this? The bridge is just closed behind you. Yeah, that's really not a good sign for you guys, I'm sorry. And looking down at this end of the drowning chamber, you can see that this bridge is closed up as well. It's the one that leads into the meeting hall. And so now the goblins are fully enclosed in their little maze. Well, what do you think, you bastards? Ready to take a little swim? Alright, now then. Just gonna take things one tank at a time. I'm not too sure how much one of these tanks can fill up the maze, but we'll find out. We'll start with tank 1. Thank you. Whoa! Did you see how fast that drained? That was crazy. And yep, the water is passing down through these channels here and into the maze. And it seems to have killed several of the goblins straight out. Like just the pressure of the water slamming them into the ground killed them. And that was just one tank too. Very impressive. But there are a few other bastards down this way, kind of running around like idiots. Well, you know what that means. Could somebody come down here and pull the lever for tank 2, please? Thank you very much. Oh, here they come. Game is paused. Now let's see what it looks like when the water comes rushing in. And, oh, there we go. It's like immediate. Wow. And yep, that'll do it right there. All of the invaders have drowned. Now we can check out the drainage. Very excited. Now there are 2 levers for that. One for the left side and one for the right. Left is down, water is draining. Right is down. It's all rushing out. Very quickly too. Not surprising, I suppose. Having a look down underneath. Yeah, I've seen a couple goblin corpses getting swept away, fantastic. As well as a whole bunch of armor and weapons, some rocks. Excellent. I was really hoping that all of these corpses would get swept away, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. Although, what if we released another tank of water? We'll do tank 4 this time, just for the hell of it. Here comes a dwarf. Now let's watch. It's kind of hard to say, really. A couple of the corpses got washed away, but there's still one here. Now what the hell, let's throw the 3rd tank in here as well. Some of that stuff is definitely moving around, but not reliably. That is a shame. Oh well. Just a single goblin corpse shouldn't be that big of a deal. And now we'll just let some time pass and wait for it to drain completely. Just like that. And now I guess we can open it up and get the whole thing cleaned out, right? Let's get to it. Yeah, you know, overall I'd say that was a pretty decent trap idea. It was pretty quick, fairly efficient. Not a bad reset, really. And I could imagine it killing a lot more invaders than that. That was only a very tiny siege. Tell you what, how about I clam up for a minute here and we'll see if any other sieges come. They should return sometime next year, I'm thinking. By which time the trap should be completely cleaned out, and we'll see if we can get some other nasty tricks thrown in there as well. What the hell, right? My friends, we will be right back. Alright, we have returned with another vile force of darkness. And really, it hasn't been that long at all. It's only a season after that last siege. Well, I'm not too sure what the deal is, but it looks like we have a goblin bowman and a beak dog here up to the north. And we'll have to see what they do. They might not even come in to attack. Let's unpause. Nope, here they come. Okay, this is a full-on siege. Let's get the dwarves into the fortress. Come on. Luckily, nobody's hauling boulders this time. Should make things a bit easier. Now, if we can get somebody down here to pull this lever real quick, thank you. And so these gates should be closing up any moment now. Oh, yep. Real quick, excellent. And now let's have ourselves a look here. I mean, it's a bigger siege, but not much bigger. Just a bunch of beak dog mounted goblins. Having a look down here at our trap, you can see we started smoothing one side of it. Although there is a whole bunch of mud in there too, which makes it look a bit filthy. But that's fine. It'll be washed out soon enough. Keeping an eye on the invaders here. And they appear to be heading southward. We're going to be speeding things along a little bit because I want to see a bigger siege than this even. But I still do want to see how this goes. Of course. Okay, they've reached the entrance and are now entering the maze. Taking some hits from those stonefall traps. Decent hits too. Looks like a beak dog was killed. And 2 of the other ones are now unconscious. 3. Wonderful. I would like it if they all got down there before we drowned them. Come on, you two. You're holding up the show. Alright, you know what? Something I forgot. We can actually make up those goblins' minds for them. Just pull this lever, please. Thank you. And back up here. There we go, fantastic. Now there's no escaping. Get down to the maze, you bastards. Okay, and here they go. Entering the maze. Ugh. Oh dear. This is what we call a wrench in the works. The forest titan Zomas Bastuma Guslangamstu has come. A towering feathered wasp. It has a short trunk and it has a regal bearing. Beware its poisonous sting. Honestly, I'm fairly shocked this thing would show up. The fortress has not been around for that long, really. And usually you have to have a well-established fortress before one of these things will show up. But here we are. Alright. Unfortunately that thing will be able to fly right over our walls over here. And so I'm going to call everybody down to the meeting hall where it's nice and safe, just for now. Alright, everyone in, let's go. There we go. I think it was just that one guy outside. And now if I can get somebody to pull this lever here, just really quick. Thank you. The surface bridge is all closed up so that thing cannot get into our fortress now. There's no way. However, I suppose we could try to open up the maze once more and hope it comes down that way. That could be pretty interesting. Alright, the maze is once again open. And the siege entrance is open as well. And that titan is just buzzing around out in the jungle somewhere, killing iguanas. Alright. And snakes. Of course it is. Although, what the hell? It looks like that iguana did quite a bit of damage to that stupid titan. It bit it and fractured its chitin. A couple of times. Yeah, like a few times actually. And this was all while the titan was attempting to choke out the iguana using its wing. Of course. And then that snake, which was a black mamba, bit the forest titan, fracturing its chitin once more and tearing a tendon, and also managed to inject the titan with some of its venom. Several times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times? 4 at least. What the hell? The stupid titan might not even survive that. That's just silly. Well, anyways, back down in the fortress, and it looks like some goblins are getting very close to the fort now. Yeah, looks like we're gonna have to lock things up again. You ready, dwarves? Actually, this time I want to try using all 4 tanks on those goblins. Let's see how this works. And yep, the maze is all filled up with water, and that should just about do it. Oh, and actually that's pretty handy. Because we used all 4 tanks, they still have some water left in them. They weren't able to fully drain out into the caverns quite yet. And so that will hasten our reset time. Very good. Now let's get her all drained out. Just like that. A lot of those corpses seem to be going down the drains. Not going to complain about that. That's not really a mess the dwarves want to deal with. And while that maze drains, let's check in on our titan friend, who appears to be just kind of laying in the brook here. Severely wounded, but conscious. Pick yourself up. Pull yourself together, dude. You fought an iguana and a snake. What's going on here? Well, not complaining really. I did envision the thing buzzing down into the maze and stinging all those goblins and beak dogs to death, but I guess that's not going to be the case. Oh well. That being said, I'm not too sure what we're going to do about this thing. Although it is severely wounded and terribly wimpy, I still don't want my dwarves going out there and fighting it. Lord knows if they do, they'll get mutilated. Not something we want. Right, well, I'm not too sure what we're going to end up doing with that Titan, but for now, we're just going to try to get back to work. Although I think I'm going to keep the gates closed, just for safety's sake. I really do still want to see if we can take on a bigger siege. And for that to happen, we're going to have to let a lot of time go by. And so I'm going to be right back. And we are back with another vile force of darkness. Very exciting. You can see they showed up over here in the west, and it appears to be a bunch of elves. Elves that are allied with the goblins. You can tell by the 5-pointed star on their armor. Just letting them file in here to see what we're working with, and unfortunately it appears to be another wimpy siege. That is a shame. Well, we're gonna get the gates closed up and we'll get our trap nice and open for them. And in the meantime, I'll show off a couple of recent happenings. Here's something fun. The humans came to trade with us and we did a whole lot of trading with them, but one of their guards fell into the brook here, pushed by an iguana that just kind of like threw them down into the brook and bit them until they died. Yeah, I mean, the human's dead down there. The iguana took no damage whatsoever. So I'm starting to think those might be some pretty tough beasties, actually. They don't seem it, that's for sure, but I mean, so far they've heavily damaged a forest titan and managed to kill a fully armored human. That's saying something. And actually, on the subject of that forest titan, well, you can see it's right here, outside our new tavern. And it managed to kill a couple of our dwarves. I did not see it move. It was down in that brook for many, many months. Whole seasons even. And it seemed fairly content down there, but at some point it just wandered out, ran up to the tavern here, and killed a couple dwarves. A damn shame. Pretty foolish, actually. All of the dwarves in the fortress were pretty content up till this, but now I'm seeing some pretty grumpy faces. They can't be blamed, though. And in fact, it looks like somebody took the blame out on Thob, our longtime mayor. I have no idea what happened here. Somebody walked into his office obviously upset, and they beat the hell out of him and killed him. At which point that dwarf was expelled. Although we should have done much worse, honestly. Kinda rotten. Thob was a darn fine leader. But that was a pretty foolish call, just ignoring that forest titan like that, wasn't it? We must continue forward, dwarves. Yeah, the game is paused, and I just closed this bridge here. There were a whole bunch of elves just entering the fortress. I guess they must have went downstairs. Oh, nope. Here they are. They're currently mid-flight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, I got 5 elves flying through the sky. They must have changed their mind and went back out. Foolish. Alright, and they just kind of landed around the area here. A couple of them in the water. They might not survive. Hopefully. We'll get it opened back up. And hopefully those others will start heading down. As for the elves currently down in our maze, yeah, there are several, but they still have a ways to go. What do you think, you damn elves? You want to come back down? Hurry up. Time's a-wasting. Yeah, in fact, these elves are almost all the way into the fortress right now. Not great. And on top of that, there's also a entertainment troupe on their way down too, using the same tunnel. And if they don't hurry, they're gonna get stuck in here. There's not much we can do about it, really. Well, come on, human. Let's go. Almost there. Okay, and they're through. But we do now unfortunately have to lock up this door. Terribly sorry. Alright, yep, the bridge is up. This end is sealed. Oh, and it does look like that second group did manage to get down here after all. Just wonderful. This end is now sealed up as well. And now then, let's get these levers pulled one more time. Again, we're going to do all 4 tanks. Except this time, I want to try to drain it out while these tanks are open. Just to see if that additional water will help flush the corpses away. Alright, looking down here, the water is already doing its thing very well. The siege is over, and all of the invaders are dead. Wonderful. And we're going to try to drain it. This time I'm only going to use the right drains here, and we'll see if the lessened drainer area and the increased water flow will help push everything out. It might. I guess we'll see. Okay, it's open. And some of this various detritus is flowing away. Very good. Alright, and that'll pretty much do it. Still 2 bodies in there, but that's not bad. And now we'll open up the other side and let the thing drain completely. Just wonderful. Yes, I have to say that King Trap is a success. And I know that King Trap is the name of the fortress, but I like to think of it as the name of the maze here. This is King Trap. And the king is hungry. So hungry, in fact, that it is not sated with these tiny sieges. No, we need something bigger. The king demands a feast. In fact, something I've been wanting to try out for a while now is that I would like to go out and antagonize some of the surrounding goblin civilizations. Like if we look over this way, just to the west, well, this is the Blotted Dungeon, where all these goblins have been coming from. But down to the southeast here, these goblins are from the Hail Curses. And if we send out some raiders to stir them up a bit, then they might come and attack us as well. Same goes for the Seal of Song. And the Gaunt Dread as well. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of goblin civilizations out there that we can harass. I think it'd be neat to see how many of them we can get coming to our fortress to attack us. It should be a pretty interesting experiment. The fortress is looking pretty damn good right now. There's been a couple of bumps here and there, but the dwarves for the most part are very happy. Plenty of food, clothes, spacious bedrooms and meeting halls. Yeah, we're looking good here. And so, my friends, I thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you were entertained, and I certainly hope to see you next time, here in Itar Igal, King Trap. And until then, you bearded bastards.
Fine. We're totally cool with.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go.
You go.
That's how it
I go.
works. Yeah.
You're listening to The Dollop on the All Things Comedy Network. This is an American History podcast. Each week, I, boat rider,
When were you on a boat last?
carrot eater,
What is going on already?
bathroom rug owner, Dave Anthony,
Oh my God.
reads a story from American history to his friend.
Gareth Reynolds, who has no idea what the topic is going to be about. You know what's funny is I remember.
I was on a boat maybe like 3 months ago.
I don't know if that's an active thing. I remember one time when we did a live show, and afterwards we went and we got a bite with a buddy of yours, and we were talking about the bit where you say all the things, and I was like, it had a good run, and I was being genuine. I was like, we had a good run with it. That was a year ago. And you were just looking at me like not going like, yeah, I think it's almost over.
Yeah.
You were definitely like silent, just sort of being like, yeah. All right.
Remote control user.
Yeah.
And called it, quote, his jam pad.
Jam pad?
I'm the fucking hippo guy!
Dave, okay.
My name's Gary.
My name's Gary. Wait.
Is it for fun?
And this is not going to become the Tiggly podcast.
Okay.
This is like anarchy!
On a 5-part coefficient.
My room's a flame!
Now hit him with the puppy.
You both present sick arguments.
Don't sleep till hippo!
Just like the hippo.
Action part.
Hi, Gary.
No.
Nicely done, my friend.
I remember some of those.
Do you like how my phone does that?
What?
You didn't notice? I was trying to show you. You don't care.
Yeah, I don't care what.
You guys, we're going to be on tour. We're going to be on lots of tours. Is
that what we're calling it?
We'll be in Salt Lake City coming up on the 20th of July. And then the next night we'll be in Denver on the 21st. After that, in August, Minneapolis on the 17th. 16th is sold out. Nashville, you're sold out. Then we'll be in Cleveland. We'll be in Pittsburgh. We'll be in Washington, D.C., Boston, Royal Oak, Michigan, Chicago, Dallas,
Jesus
Austin.
Christ.
Those are all on sale. And then we also just announced our Australian tour.
Oh my God.
We'll be going to Perth, Brisbane, Adelaide, Byron Bay, Canberra, Sydney, Melbourne,
Canberra.
Hobart.
Hopefully Hobart.
Hopefully Hobart. I mean, everybody knows. Hopefully everybody knows by now that we are booked into a venue that is currently on strike. So if the employees are still on strike, we'll figure something else. But we're not going to cross the picket line.
We'll do it at one of their houses.
We'll do it at one of your
Is that how it
houses.
works?
I mean, seriously, we will. No matter what, people will get a show. It just might be in a park or something. But
Yeah.
I'm not doing a show. I'm not crossing the picket line. So
Yeah, I will, but Dave's being a real dick.
go to dolloppodcast.com. All the tour stuff is there, and you can click on all links to get tickets and stuff there. Do you have
Yeah.
any dates you want to say? I know you like to say dates.
I'm going on a lot of dates with Dave. We have suppers. I have some stuff coming up. I'm a little dollop. We're doing more dollop dates coming up, but then I'll pick back up. So you can go to GarethReynolds.com if you have any curiosity about what those are like. Sure. And boy, did I have some fun. I've had a good little run.
If you're a fan of the Dollop, which I assume you are because you're listening, you might enjoy mysteries. Do you like mysteries?
I don't know.
If so, let me tell you
Who's asking?
about a new podcast I love, called Unexplained Mysteries. Every week, the hosts look into the greatest mysteries of the past and present, like from the building of Stonehenge, which you probably don't know anything about.
I do know everything about it. It's a bunch of weird rocks.
It was done by
Druids.
Druids who took acid.
Oh.
And,
they were on acid?
And that, or just the Mona Lisa. What happened with the Mona Lisa? How'd that get done?
Yeah.
Lots of cool, like stuff that you're like, oh, I know that thing.
I know the deal with that. She was smiling real big.
There may not be simple answers or explanations, but that doesn't mean there's no explanation at all.
Whoa.
Yeah, it just got really deep. Wow. So they investigate the Earth's greatest mystery. Each episode, it's great storytelling, which I know people of this podcast like. So you go through a little journey, how they got to the greatest mystery.
Sure.
There's a team of researchers, which we could use.
Yeah.
The hosts use in-depth research and analysis while I try to find out the answers. So check out episodes on the Majestic 12, the Mona Lisa, and Stonehenge Now. And with a new episode coming out every Thursday, you can expect a new mystery every
Or maybe not every
goddamn
Thursday.
Visit Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to podcasts and search for Unexplained Mysteries. Again, that's Unexplained Mysteries.
You said a gun. Is that a tell? Is that a clue?
Did I say gun?
You said a gun.
No, I didn't.
That's a clue, isn't it?
UNEXPLAINEDMYSTERIES. Or visit parcast.com/unexplained and start listening now. That's Parcast. PARCARST.com/unexplained. Parcast.
Nice. Good
Or
jingle.
Parcast.
No, do
No?
not
You don't
toy
think
with
so?
it at all. No.
I think that might be a thing.
Nope. Nope.
Par.
Nope. That's how my dad used to say my mom's name. Par.
What?
Yeah.
We're also sponsored by Casper.
Ooh, more mysteries.
The Ghost and the Mattress.
Yeah.
Our listeners are invited to take advantage of Casper's competitive limited time 4th of July offer. So
That's right.
4th of July is coming up, so that's seriously limited time.
Yeah. Hurry.
Casper's a place to shop for 4th of July mattress savings this year. They sell directly to you.
Find your independence from a bad mattress.
They sell directly to you. Oh, I get it.
Yeah, it's independent.
You're getting independence from a bad mattress, go to a good mattress.
Yeah, it's Independence Day.
They sell directly to you, eliminating added costs and saving you money. You like to save money, right?
No. I'm the opposite.
You can be sure your purchase with Casper's 100-night risk-free sleep-on-it trial and returns are hassle-free if you're not completely satisfied. So that's cool. You can just send it back. The original Casper mattress combines multiple supportive memory foams for a quality sleep service with the right amounts of both sink and bounce. And I know you like sink. The breathable design of each mattress helps you sleep cool and regulate your body temperature throughout the night.
It's a great mattress.
You sleep on one. I sleep on one.
I sleep in one.
Yeah, interesting.
I've made some adjustments.
Okay, I'm uncomfortable. You
Keep
sleep
reading.
in it?
Keep reading.
I like it when it comes out of the box.
Yeah. I've talked about that.
I would like to buy one once a week just to watch it come out of the box.
Or I'll just go to people's places when they open it and then just leave right away because it's like.
But you guys should get one because they're comfortable. I sleep well.
And you'll sleep in any listener that orders one. Dave will come over and sleep in it for a night.
I'll sleep in it. I'll break it in.
Yeah.
For a limited time, visit Casper.com/savings and save up to $225 off your order. Limited time only. This special offer expires July 9th, 2018. Terms and conditions apply. So it's a little bit after. You
got a few days to recover.
Yeah, you get Independence
from the
Day and
binge
then
drinking.
a few days after Independence Day.
Okay.
We're also brought to you by Birdwell Beach Breeches, which we both now own.
We're owners.
We wear them around. We do what's known as fashion shows in each other's houses. Mm-hmm. Guys,
yeah, and by the way, people are like, is it a show if it's just you and another guy who's also doing it? Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
It is. Yeah.
We have a light kit.
Yeah.
There's music. Yeah,
There's music.
It is a show.
People are doing stuff. Summer's here, and the beach, pool, and lake are calling. Wondering what to wear this year, Gareth?
No,
Sometimes my Irish people are stereotypical.
Yeah.
Elizabeth and the boys.
That's a lot of wishful thinking.
So there are two boys. I told you. I don't know why you're like, no.
Why does it have to be a competition?
I'm better than you. So it's not.
Fair answer.
So it's not a competition.
Good answer.
Because I'm better than you.
Good answer. Can't fault the guy for a good answer. Not docking any points for a good answer.
Thanks for bathing today.
What's your deal?
I'm just not used to it.
What is? Why do you have this? Why do you perpetuate these rumors? I'm very clean.
1765!
Okay. You're like a town crier now.
I had to lean back.
Yeah,
in
you're
that
deep
one.
off
I
mic.
lean back.
Respectful of the ears of the listeners.
You're deep off, Mike.
What's your deal?
Andrew and Elizabeth Jackson arrived from Ireland into America. The sweet,
tempting.
sweet country of America. They were very poor, very poor.
This'll never go poorly.
Oh, shit. We left the potatoes. They lived in Waxhaw settlement, named after the Waxhaw tribe.
Sure.
The settlement was along the north South Carolina border, kind of right there, straddles that bad boy.
Okay.
After 2 years, though, Andrew died.
Jeez.
Well, he tried to lift up a log, and he hurt himself, and he got sick, and
He died from lifting up a log. I mean, we really are in charm times.
It was, it was harder.
If you lifting up a log, which is something you had to do.
Yeah, you had to lift up a log. back then.
Potentially.
No, everyone had, unless you were rich, you had to lift up the log. There was
And
no
he
one
died.
not lifting logs.
Man.
Yeah, that was it. At the funeral, his neighbors got...
Was someone a pallbearer and like, my back?
You'll see.
Oh, no.
At the funeral, his neighbors got shit-faced and put his coffin on a mule-drawn sled.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And when the sled arrived at the cemetery, everyone realized the coffin was gone. So they had to retrace their sled steps.
So the wild sledding didn't get the body there?
No, the
Weird.
coffin snagged on a branch of a tree, and they had to...
Well, Dave, I mean, certainly crazy that branches were involved.
I'm just saying...
Yeah.
I'm just saying sometimes my Irish people are stereotypical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elizabeth and the boys...
That's a lot of wishful thinking.
So there are two boys, right? Elizabeth and the boys moved in with her sister and brother-in-law. In under a month, on March 15th, 1767, Andrew Jackson was born.
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
You know that name?
Yeah, old Cherokee?
Yeah, sure.
What is he?
Definitely not old
What is
Cherokee.
he? No, he's old. No,
Definitely.
yeah, no.
100% not old Cherokee.
Yeah, angry at Cherokee.
He lived with
What
his...
was he? Old Hickory.
Old Hickory, yeah.
That's it.
He lived with his mom, aunt, and
Loser.
uncle. Yeah, that's right.
How old is he?
Right now, he's a baby.
Loser.
Okay, I don't know why.
Come on, get out of the house, you loser.
Just got born.
Get a job, you dumbass.
Jesus Christ.
Come on, old Cherokee.
He lived with his mom, his aunt, uncle for the first 10 to 12 years of his life. His Aunt Jane was an invalid, so Andrew's mom took care of all the kids. She had 3, and her sister had 8, so she took care of 11 kids.
Jesus.
Which is,
Lots.
I would just say, why didn't the log take me?
Yeah, that's when you start lifting. Yeah, that's how you try to kill yourself by throwing a few logs
Go
around the back.
outside and pick up a log and go, please take me. Log.
Hurry, Lord.
Come on, log god.
Lord.
Andrew was said to always be doing pranks and getting in trouble.
Okay.
Little prankster.
Yeah.
A slave on the farm said Andrew was treated for a disease she called the big itch.
What is...
No, that's all we got.
Oh, boy.
Quote, there is 2 itches, the big itch and the little itch. The little itch ain't nothing to the big itch. The big itch breaks out all you over and do frighten a body powerful.
So he's got like a full body rash.
Yeah, he sounds like he had a bad one. Oh. Like a bleeding, scratching guy.
Sure, right.
It was also reported that Andrew suffered from an unknown disease that caused, quote, slobbering.
Okay, wait. Are we sure that he's not some sort of like wild shaved dog?
Yeah, that's him. That's
Maybe some rashed up like.
that's our boy.
Okay, so he's pink with rash
Yeah.
and slobbering.
Yeah, that's our boy, Slobbering Andrew.
Playing pranks.
Yep.
Who puts a ran wrap over the outhouse seat?
Slobbering Andrew. I don't know if that's slobbering.
So itchy.
What is that?
It's me, Old Hickory.
I don't, not yet.
Young Hickory.
Right now you're just slobbering Andy.
Regular Hickory.
He became a bully.
Okay.
He was described as, quote, self-willed, somewhat overbearing, easily offended, very irascible, and upon the whole, difficult to get along with.
Okay, so we have an enormous newborn gerbil skin tone slobbering who's tough to be around.
Super hot, right?
Yeah, it's a good vibe.
He also enjoyed swearing and was known often to say, by God, which I guess was a swear word, but come on.
Yeah, well, come on. I think we say worse.
He also wasn't very interested in school or reading.
Okay, finally, I'm understanding
Yeah,
this guy
now
a
I
little
get
bit.
this guy
I'm inside the head of this guy.
100%. As their sons grew, Elizabeth taught them to fear and hate Native Americans.
Good. Good start.
That's how you do that.
Yeah.
At the time, there were roving bands of Native Americans who attacked whites. So all the kids were taught to always be aware, to notice unusual movements in the forest and other fun child survival tactics.
Right. Yeah. That's fun for a kid.
Yeah. And if you didn't, then you get killed.
Yeah. Well,
Which is fine.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you discover
Invade.
land that was already
Yeah,
discovered.
if someone already lives there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll happen.
Well. This will be lovely. Move you.
Crack.
Yeah.
When Andrew was 12, his older brother went to fight in the Revolutionary War. That's the one against the British, if you don't know. That's where we tossed your people out.
Listen, we're not willing. This is kind of a will we, won't we sort of deal.
Quit straddling the
We
fence.
have a real.
Pick a side. That's all I'm saying.
We have a real will they, won't they?
Pick a
It's
side.
real Ross Rachel.
Pick a side.
I've picked both sides. And I'll tell you what, I'm glad to have a back burner.
He died after a battle of heat and fatigue. So he fought in a
So he
fought in
fought
a battle,
heat
and
and
then
fatigue.
afterwards he's
Oh.
like, "I'm hot," and then he
I'm
died.
losing the battle of the sun.
Yeah, they probably forgot the stuff called water. I would
Yeah,
imagine.
right. Well, they had meat or something.
So the Jacksons were Whigs and supported American independence. On May 29th, 1780, 300 militia on horseback attacked the Waxhaw settlement.
Okay.
They killed 113 people and wounded 150. Robert and Andrew helped their mother treat the wounded soldiers.
Okay. Nice.
Settlement
Was he
was-
still slobbering at that point?
I don't know if he was slobbering anymore. I know he was probably
Because if he's
pretty
still got
itchy.
like a hooch mouth, then I don't know if you want him over some sort of open wound or,
I would imagine when he got nervous, he itched. So
well, it's not what you want from the guy who's
what
got
I want.
sutures. No,
It's
it's
what I
not.
want.
Blah, 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 blah. You're going to require like five stitches. Blah, 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 blah.
the settlement was attacked twice more that year. Andrew and his family would move north when the attacks happened. Both boys wanted to enlist, but they were too young to fight. So they served as scouts and couriers.
Okay.
Andrew and his brother were captured by the British and taken to a prison camp in South Carolina.
Okay.
Their wounds were not treated because they got hit in the head and stuff when they were getting captured.
Okay.
Because they got captured kind of for mouthing off. They were being like,
Jerk offs.
yeah. The food was
That's
bad.
it. Off to jail. So the British had like jails around.
Well, I think it's just like it's probably, I would imagine, a fence
Right.
with dudes inside.
Yeah, and you reunite the families eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The food was bad, and there was not much
So
to
it
go
was English
around.
food.
Yeah, it was English food.
It wasn't even prison.
Would you like some bangers?
Well, the potato's halfway cooked. Would you like one? We've run out of salt. How about some sand? You put a bit of sand on your tater.
I'm going to go without. Actually, I'm good without.
Look how hot the plate is. That's
Yes.
nice, isn't it?
Yes, that is nice. I'm not hungry.
More broth. More uncooked courgette.
Is there a way I can die? Is there a dying option?
Well, try the beef.
Andrew was robbed of his jacket and shoes, and then he got separated from his brother and cousin.
Okay.
And then smallpox broke out.
I feel like Andrew might have already had smallpox.
Yeah, you're right. Or something worse.
What is worse?
Slobbering and itching.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Andrew and his brother started coming down with smallpox. Now, his mother, I don't know how this happened. His mother, Elizabeth, came and brokered a prisoner exchange. She talked to an American captain into giving up 13 British, and then in return, she got 7 prisoners,
Okay.
2 of whom were her sons.
Okay.
Robert was so sick, she had to walk beside the horse and hold him up. It was a 40-mile journey home, but he died before they got home.
Okay.
Andrew was very, very close to death. He remained an invalid for several months, but Elizabeth nursed him back to health. And she decided at that point to bring medicine and messages to a prison ship in Charleston, which is 160 miles away. So they were putting all the prisoners on a ship in Charleston.
Okay.
And she found out about it, and she was like, I'll bring them medicine. And she got the messages from people around
Okay. So
around the
she's
hood.
Sure.
And then on the way back, she was, quote, seized with the ship fever and died.
Jesus.
So
Okay.
she went to the ship and she got the ship fever. That's why you
The
don't go to a
ship
ship.
fever,
That's why
yeah.
you don't go to a ship. Go to a boat.
And save a shot of medicine for yourself
Thank
if you're
you.
going there near
Yeah.
the ship.
But
You're an active boater.
I'm a boatman.
Yeah,
boatman.
you're a boatman.
Yeah. It was probably cholera, I would imagine, or
Oh.
just one of the awesome ship diseases.
Sure. Yeah. She ate barnacles or something.
Yeah. She might have gotten barnacles.
Yeah. She has barnacles on her.
Yeah.
Oh no! So Andrew now is at home alone,
Yeah.
dying of smallpox.
No, he's okay. He's recovered, but
He's
he's
recovered.
still sick. Like,
He's
it takes
sick.
a while. He's 14 years old, and he's got no family anymore.
Sure.
I mean, he's got distant relatives who he goes to live with, but they're not as...
Yeah, they're not as cool about
not
the
as
slobbering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They all think he's weird.
Yeah.
His health came back, and then he got into horse racing, gambling, drinking, and cockfighting.
Finally, so
he
he
went-
is back.
Yeah, so he went fucking over the top.
Yeah, nice.
The Revolutionary War ended. Congratulations, America. The British were gone, so that now they needed new laws in America, right?
Right. Ones that would hold up throughout any test.
Yeah, there's nothing that could possibly...
Nothing that could shake the foundation of these laws that they were going to come up with.
Right, there's no...
Something that locks democracy in forever no matter what.
Right, we're going to do those. And then we're set, and nothing can shake that.
Yep. Missed the British yet?
Yeah, a little bit. So Andrew decided to become a lawyer to take advantage of that sweet, sweet situation.
Okay.
He studied with a couple of lawyers, one of whom had lost a hand in the war and used a silver knob for a
What? Like,
Prosthesis.
what? That's not a prosthesis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's just got
It's a...
knob hand.
Knob hand.
Yeah.
And so when he was arguing a case, he would bang it on the...
Yeah, well, that really takes away the judge's power. I am also banging. Stop banging your weird knob
He
hand.
would bang it on the jury box, which I think would be pretty effective.
Yeah.
The judge...
I'm kind of jealous the more I think of it.
Yeah, it's good. And,
Yeah.
he just took a door handle, basically, and
Yeah,
then started
yeah.
knocking shit with... Yeah.
Sure.
So the Judge Board of North Carolina Superior Court of Law concluded Andrew was now ready to practice law after a little while.
Okay.
I don't know, it was like a year, maybe
Sure.
tops.
So he gets it.
Now, this is a time of duels.
But he's also studying law that hasn't necessarily been established yet.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
it's not
probably
great.
kind of rushed.
It's not great.
They're like, there's 9 things to know.
Okay.
It's a pretty quick course.
Yep.
Take your syllabus, go home, come back tomorrow.
All right.
Bing, bang, boom. Most likely you're a lawyer.
Let's do it.
All right.
Guilty.
Perfect.
All right.
Now for your knob hand.
Thank you. So a lot of duels. Andrew was in his share. He enjoyed duels. It was said he had over 100 duels, but it sounds like a lot of those were just fights and not actually shooting duels.
So a duel where you walk away and then just throw punches
You throw
20
a fist.
paces away from someone
And then you
else?
fist.
Yeah, I would have hit you with this.
Get your fists ready.
Ah!
And then you
Just
whack
throw sand.
Throw sand in the guy's eyes. That's
Yeah.
a duel.
Sure.
If you throw a bag of powder,
But what are those?
a
That's
bag of
just-
powder on the ground and a big cloud comes up and you run
Smoke bomb!
and you run away.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a duel.
But so those are maybe just ones that go to the brink of.
I don't know. I didn't
Dueling
know what
or-
I think they just called. Sometimes they call the fight a duel, and then it got confused after a while.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, I hear you. In 1788, a friend of Andrews was appointed as a Superior Court judge in Western North Carolina,
Okay.
which today is known as Tennessee.
Okay. Sure.
He appointed Andrew to be the district's public prosecutor.
Okay.
There were around 5,000 white people living in Nashville, but it was unsafe to live outside of the central area because of Native American attacks.
Okay.
So once there, Andrew, quote, aided in pursuing and chastising the enemy.
The Native Americans.
Yeah, oh yeah, fuck
Right.
yeah. Soon after arriving, he was involved in an attack on some Cherokee.
Old Cherokee was?
No, he's not Old Cherokee.
His name makes sense.
Definitely not. Andrew's commander said he was, quote, bold, dashing, fearless, and mad upon his enemies.
Okay.
And he had a great ambition for encounters with the savages.
Okay. So he enjoyed fighting.
It sounds like he liked just going fucking ape fucking beating
Yeah,
the shit out
just-
of
yeah,
Native Americans.
slobbering all over
Yeah,
the-
just slobbering and getting itchy.
Yeah.
The American government wanted peace talks with the Native Americans. American government's like this, so let's do the talkie thing where we talk and figure some stuff out.
Sure.
Andrew disagreed with that approach and wrote to a friend, quote, peace talks are nothing but delusions to put white men off their guard. And that experience teaches us that treaties answer to no other purpose than opening an easy door for the Indians to pass through and butcher our citizens. So treaties basically just a door, like a trap door situation.
Sure.
So,
Okay,
so
so
there's
is-
not a lot of. So if you think about it, there's not a lot of options once you rule that one out. The talking part. Once you rule out the talking part, then there's just kind of one
I think it's a policy that could still work.
option. Yeah,
I think that could still play for us.
yeah, I agree.
Silence, locking ourselves in the bedroom.
Yeah,
eating a bucket of chicken. I think that could still play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the founders of Nashville had a daughter named Rachel.
I found it.
That's kind
It's
of...
Nashville. It's mine, and I found it.
There were already people there, but yeah, I get it.
It's mine. Get them out of here.
Well, there's people living there.
They're in Nashville. Get them out.
Okay.
They're not from here.
Well, they are from here.
Not anymore. Let me see their IDs. That's just
no-
something I came up
They
with.
don't have ID.
Well, then they need to get out because they don't have them. I found it here.
You found what?
Nashville. It's this whole area here. It goes
but
from
it
there
was
to there
all- it
and then
was-
back to there and here.
It was already here.
Now it's Nashville.
I don't think you quite understand how.
I'm inventing country line dancing. Nashville. Get them out.
Get who out?
There's people.
The people who live here before you? The
You
people that have been living
know.
here for decades, centuries, hundreds
The-
of years?
the-
all the time.
The ones.
Get them out.
Why would I get them out?
Because they don't like country.
So
Blake Shelton's coming.
The founder had a daughter named Rachel who married a Captain Robards. And they lived in Kentucky, but Robards became very jealous of a boarder in the house they lived in.
He became jealous of a boarder?
A boarder, a guy who lived in the house.
Oh,
Another
okay.
a boarder.
Okay.
Room and border, not
Yeah,
a board,
board.
not a guy made out of boards.
I mean, can I picture what I want?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Rachel came back after he has a temper, so she didn't enjoy that part of him. So she came back to Tennessee to live with her mother, and then Robards came back and moved in with them.
Okay.
Now this is the house.
Where's the man made of boards? Did he go?
He got on fire.
Okay. Well, man, that's terrible for him.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
wood.
Yeah, it was not good. So Andrew Jackson came, and this is the family that he boarded with. So he's living with the mom.
He's the
Robards
new
and Rachel.
Kramer.
He's the new Kramer.
Okay.
That's right. Robards then became jealous of Andrew.
Sure. What's not to be jealous of? He's
Right?
pink. He's frothing.
Yeah.
He's angry.
Fuck yeah. When Andrew learned Robards was telling people that he was too intimate with his wife, Andrew found him and told him if he heard any of that kind of talk again, he would, quote, cut his ears out of his head.
Jesus.
So he goes,
Cutting off is what you do. Cutting out of is.
well, that's like a coring situation.
Yeah, exactly, yeah,
you're going
yeah.
in, you're
It's
getting
like a
the
melon
inner,
scooper.
Because you can just slice off an ear, but
you're going
inside the
in.
ear, he's talking about the whole inner ear.
Getting all the pumpkin
part.
seeds out and whatever.
Well, I don't know if they call it that, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty familiar with WebMD.
I think you're not, because there's actually no pumpkin seeds in a human.
Read on.
Robards then had Andrew arrested because he threatened him, right?
Okay.
And then a guard came and took Andrew away, and Robards decided to travel with him to the courthouse, right? Because they're taking Andrew to the courthouse
Okay.
to deal with the situation. On the way, Andrew talked the guard into giving him his butcher knife.
What? Guard?
The guard had a butcher knife.
Okay.
I'm assuming that this was a mistake that someone wrote, and it's just it's like a different
Because you got to be
kind
a
of knife.
real sweet talker.
I mean, I don't know
Well, he
why.
still gets a knife.
I don't know why you're rolling, but I don't know why you're rolling around the country with a butcher knife. Just have a knife.
Yeah, but
Are you gonna
also,
run
why
into a
give it to
cow?
a guy you're taking? You're like, yeah, all right, guy, have a turn. Take a rip.
Well, he talked him into giving him the butcher knife by promising not to do any harm with it. He's like, "Look, I'm not going to do anything.
I just like holding knives.
I like to hold knives." Quote, Jackson examined the point and edge, glancing the while at Robards. So he's holding the knife and he's looking at Robards.
Nice, isn't
He's
it?
holding the knife, and then Robards just starts running.
Okay.
He's like, "This is fucked."
So something about him looking at the knife and looking at
Yeah.
dead into his
Apparently.
eyes made him feel uneasy.
Yeah, apparently that was weird.
Okay. Especially after he said he's going to cut his ears out of his head.
Yeah.
I guess those might be
You put those
connected.
together, it's not great.
Yeah.
So Jackson pursued him into the cane.
So
And
he
then-
chases him.
Yeah, and then he came back alone and went to the courthouse with the guard.
On charges that were being filed by a man who had fled.
That's interesting. So at the court, without a witness to make the
Why
case.
are you here?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want this knife? It's pretty cool.
No, but clearly.
Yeah, there was a guy.
Why are you in the defendant's box?
No, comfy.
Is anyone pressing anything against you?
No, there. Yeah, no. I think we're good.
Okay.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bang my knob a few times. You
Yeah.
guys can get out of here.
Yep. Anyway, Robards moved away without Rachel after that.
Oh, so, okay.
And he
Wow.
moved off. No charges. Case over. Robards goes away.
Weird.
So now, eventually, Andrew learned Robards was granted a divorce from Rachel.
So now Rachel's single.
Single. Andrew married
So
her.
So the rumors potentially were true.
Yeah.
Right.
So he married her. They're both 24. 2 years later, Andrew finds out that Rachel and Robards' divorce had never been finalized.
Oh boy.
You actually needed a special act from the legislature, which they didn't have.
What, like a duet?
Yeah. And Robards hadn't followed through with that. So in 1794, Andrew and Rachel got a new marriage license and remarried to make sure it was official.
Okay.
I'm not sure how that works and fixes the first part of her still being married to the other guy, but apparently...
Well, I think it's like, most recent.
Yeah.
So
Last
official.
second in?
Yeah, it's like your last address.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as a lawyer, Andrew was known to not take much shit.
Okay.
Once opposing counsel mocked one of his legal arguments, so he wrote out a duel challenge and handed it to the guy.
Boy, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He's printing it up.
Sure.
And the other guy was like, yeah, I'll fucking do that. Let's
he's
do that
in.
shit. Yeah.
Okay. Was it like, do you want a duel? Check yes box or no box?
I think it was a yes or no box.
Okay.
Yeah. Or a maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you did one of those little like things you do. Those little. That's gonna be hard to convey on a podcast. Those of you listening or watching, one of those.
I'm sure like 7-year-old girls could tell you the name of that thing.
Yeah, the thing where you got the little trap in your.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Let's cut that out, Eddie.
So then after a while, the case was sent to the jury, and then the two lawyers went outside into the street and held a duel.
Okay, so they are basically the lawyers who are opposing lawyers go outside for a duel while the jury's deliberating.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yep.
It's interesting. It's an interesting scenario.
Yep. So they both did the walkie walk, and then they turned and shot, and they both missed. And then they walked over and shook hands, and we're good buddies after that.
That is the weirdest feature
That
of
is
the duel
the
to me.
weirdest thing about the duel.
You
is
would think a
shoot-
reload. I mean, I understand,
Yeah.
but you think maybe have like another pistol on hand. Yeah,
second try.
like so you get a second shot.
Yeah, second try.
Then maybe you shake hands. It's
Yeah.
sort of like extra time in the World Cup.
I would go like 4 tries, 5 tries, maybe.
Well, then you're definitely getting death. I wouldn't mind two. I mean, but the one where you're just like, oh, well,
here we go.
there it was. Neither of us killed the other.
Pool?
I'd love to play some pool.
Yeah. So Andy traveled all over Tennessee as a lawyer, usually with a small group of men, and they camp constantly. They're always under the threat of attack.
Camping lawyers.
Yeah, it's a new show on
Yeah.
ABC. They're always under a threat of attack from Native Americans. He gained a reputation as one of Tennessee's best Indian fighters.
Okay. Right.
Andrew practiced law for
History frowns upon that title.
Yes.
Yeah.
Andrew practiced law for 8 years. Sometimes he was given land as a payment.
Okay.
So sometimes they do a really good job, and they'd be like, "Here's an acre, or whatever."
Just random acres?
Yeah, I mean, where else? It's not like they can give you the acre you want.
not
They'd
that
be like, "I got an
valuable.
acre here."
That's not that
well,
valuable.
maybe.
I mean, wouldn't you want a bunch of acres near each other?
Yeah, but it's probably better.
Rather than some sort of
But, you
spread out
know.
acreage?
I mean, come
We
on.
can go to my acre. There's nothing on it. We'll
That-
spend the weekend there.
I mean, it'd be cool to just have an acre somewhere, you know.
Yeah, but they pile up, and then you just have a bunch of acres.
Or maybe you just try to get other acres that match up to it. Just keep working hard, dude.
Dude, it's not Monopoly.
Keep
This
taking
is life,
cases.
bro.
Keep taking cases. Take some divorce cases. You might get closer acres.
So, what interested you in our case? Well, the plot. It's very close to a bunch of acres I have that I'm trying to merge. I just would love to have I'd love to have a house.
have you considered getting a divorce? The two
I
of
really
you?
think you should. You know,
That'd be great.
she's sleeping with that man who's made of boards.
Excuse me.
She's sleeping with your guy who's made of boards.
Yeah, we filmed that.
Premature.
Hey, boards are, you know what I'm talking about?
All right. Well, I'm going to go to your neighbors. What a nightmare this has been.
He also bought land when there were not many settlers around. Some land he also won in cockfights.
Wow.
I mean, it's classic president stuff.
Yeah. I mean, well, in retrospect.
He ended up with over 50,000 acres.
Wow,
in
imagine
his
if they were
life.
near each other. What a life. That's a lot of land if it's close.
Sometimes he was given slaves as payment. So that's cool.
Cool.
Give a person to cover debt.
It's always fun to remember that.
He got his first slave in 1788. That's a big day, getting your first slave.
Oh,
That's
God.
really a big day. 2 years later, he received 2 more. So he's, racking up the slaves and the land. During his first 15 years at the Nashville settlement, a settler was killed once every 10 days by Native Americans.
Jesus.
So So they're
Okay.
picking them off. Pretty
Right.
good.
So it's like an injury chalkboard at a
Yeah,
restaurant.
it's not great.
Right.
In 1794, Andrew was one of 550 soldiers who killed, quote, a considerable number of Cherokee warriors.
Nice.
They destroyed the Cherokee town of Running Water. It was the largest town of hostile Cherokee, and it basically ended the war in the area.
Okay.
So they did a big old let's kill everybody thing.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, yeah,
Totally
like,
cool.
I think when you really look back, it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think
And
that's
like,
the right word
yeah,
for it.
we did cool things.
Yeah,
and,
cool stuff to cool people.
Yeah, and we've processed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Andrew was really making a name for himself. He helped draft the state constitution.
Wow.
And then became the state's first representative in the House of Representatives. So he's the
That's-
first fucking guy from Tennessee.
That's when
to-
it was a studio apartment.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
He got 1,113 votes. His opponent got 12.
What was his opponent? A cactus?
Bored.
Was he
bored
running
guy.
against?
He's a guy made out of boards.
Oh man. Thought more people would have turned out.
We see my girl around.
Nothing's easy when you're made of boards.
Oh, he has a song.
Oh, hi. Didn't realize you guys were there.
I thought I just heard you singing.
Well, I was just talking about how hard it is being made of boards.
Yeah.
Everyone looks at you when you're different, made of wood.
Yeah, sure.
You sit around and wonder
Yeah.
what maybe could.
I'm just gonna take this nail right here. If you
Have
don't
been.
mind. Yeah, well,
And all of a sudden, oh, God, no, kill me. Do one in the head.
that hurts. That actually hurts.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I'm pine. I'm mainly pine. No one knows what it's like when you're made of pine.
Oh, because that was it's different.
Gotta
song.
put a smile on your face, pretend you're feeling fine, but you're not.
Go ahead. Move. Hurry. Move now.
You
Move
don't-
now.
Move now.
Move
it's-
now. Move now.
So the militia who had attacked and killed the Cherokee wanted compensation for their war, right? So
Sure.
when they're in Washington, they're like, we should get some money for all those people we killed.
And we're like, we will always take care of the veterans.
Because we killed a bunch of people, so we should get some cash
Absolutely. We should reward you.
for that. They wanted $22,816 for expenses. President Washington was like, no.
Yeah, I mean, he was really more like, blah, 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 no, ow, no, ow,
No teeth.
mouth, no, ow, mouth, ow, no.
Because he didn't want to pay him because it wasn't a defensive battle, it was offensive. So he's like, well, if you guys are protecting yourself, we could pay up.
Now,
So
see,
you're
if
just
one of them had
going out-
attacked you.
Going out killing people, then that's different.
But he wrote all this down with a,
Yeah,
In ink.
bloody
yeah,
tooth stub.
right.
Andrew, when Andrew heard
It
this,
just says porridge, sir.
when Andrew heard this, he lost his fucking shit.
Okay. Old Dickory.
And quote, bolted to his feet on the house floor, he roared his rage. He insisted that the raids were just and necessary.
They was looking at us funny.
He had a bit of a temper,
Yeah, it
a
seems
little
like
bit
it.
of a temper. A committee was formed in the House with a guy named Andrew Jackson as the chairman. And now, weirdly, the committee then recommended Tennessee be paid the money. And then the bill passed, and now Andrew was an even bigger hero in Tennessee.
Well, Andrew was the only one voting on it, right? He's still
Probably.
the only guy in there.
Yeah. Just me.
Yay!
Yay to that.
The A's have it.
3 months later, the Senate seat opened up, and he was appointed.
Okay.
He worked as a senator from November 1797 to April 1798, and then he resigned.
Okay.
So this is short,
Sure.
banged out like 6 months.
Sure. Any reason?
He didn't like it.
He didn't like it,
He didn't
okay.
like the job.
Sure.
He wasn't big on politics and sitting around
No. Yes. Well,
and compromise and all that stuff.
right. Some presidents aren't.
When he got back, he was elected to the Tennessee Supreme Court. He served on the Supreme Court for 6 years, and in 1801, he beat his nemesis John Sevier and became Major General of the Tennessee Militia.
Okay.
It was a very prestigious job.
Sure.
This is when people started calling him General Jackson, even though he's a Major General. But calling him Major General is kind of boring or
It's all
long.
boring.
Just cut it down to General.
MG.
MG. Yeah.
Go with that.
Andrew did not have any biological children, but he had a shitload of kids.
Yep. The rumors were true.
Rachel's brother died in 1804, and Andrew became the guardian of his 3 sons, John Samuel, Andrew Jackson, and Daniel Smith.
Okay.
They were 6, 5, and 3. Their mom was still alive, but the courts appointed a male guardian even if the mother was still alive. They were like,
So wait.
so
no way.
if you're a dude and you have a wife and kids, and then you die, and then the kids have to go to another dude, because if the lady can't take care of him. What's she gonna do?
So wait, this is Rachel, his wife.
No, this
Oh.
is his Rachel's brother
Sorry, right. Rachel's brother's
dies.
dies. The
Her.
kids go to her, but they're like, there needs to be a man to watch over the kids too.
Yeah,
And that's Andrew, or that's an additional man?
He's now Andrew.
It's Andrew. Andrew's now
He's
they're
100%
like,
in charge
Right.
of the kids. She can live with them and stuff because she's their mom.
you may look at them, but we're gonna go with this guy who's got a penis.
Like if he wanted to be like, Scoot, get the fuck out of here, she'd be like, what? And he'd be
Get
like,
outta
"That's
here."
it, That's it.
It's me and the boys.
Yeah, I heard
you have
you.
no connection to your sons.
You know, if you got a problem with it, bring it up on Dr. Phil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be a good one. Andrew, you're not recognizing what she's asking of you.
Yeah, I know. I don't like her.
Let's bring the boys out.
I'm on heroin.
That's an interest. That's a tell. That's what we call a giveaway.
Masturbate 18 hours a day.
Well, and you ever thought about this, Andrew? That maybe sometimes when you're asking these people to duel, you're actually shooting at yourself, and you're trying to duel the other Andrew that seems to pull you apart from Rachel and your boys.
Yeah, I think that all the time, actually. I'm just looking to kill some Cherokee. I gotta be honest, man.
We'll be right back. Have you had a lot of land given to you sparsely over the country that you wish connected?
I have.
If so, call Dr. Phil.
That got weird. That was very specific. So another one of Rachel's brothers, his wife had twins,
Okay.
and then for some reason
He dies?
they gave one of them to Andrew and
What?
Rachel.
You just give one twin away? They're like
yeah,
mittens.
No, but if you have two and you're like,
No, you don't separate twins.
what if they look alike?
Twins have something that we should all strive to have.
No, if there's two of them, they look the same. You're like, I can't tell these apart. Then you
What?
give one to,
We're setting up Act 1 of The Parent Trap.
just give one to a friend, a
Yeah.
buddy, or your brother or whatever.
Well, we didn't bring you a bottle of wine, but you want James?
So they named him Andrew Jackson Jr.
AJJ.
But he's one of the other boys is Andrew Jackson. So
That's
there's
fine,
three
though.
Andrew Jacksons living in the house. Do you want Big Andy, Little Andy, or Middle Andy?
Regular Andy.
Regular Andy. I don't know which one that is.
We're all kind of regular Andy.
So over the years, they would just keep getting kids from different relatives.
What?
That's part of the jam.
It's not a. You really nonchalantly are saying that. That's not a thing.
It's part of the
It's
thing.
not like when you have like a bunch of
Yeah.
goats who need rehabilitation and you
it's
open
cool.
a farm. You don't
It's
just
totally
take on a
cool.
bunch of random
No,
children.
if someone has twins, you get one.
It's not a potluck with babies.
I would disagree.
Okay, fair.
Tennessee was considered the West at the time, right? Wild, unsettled. White settlers kept pushing Native Americans off their land. Tecumseh, do I have to go through Tecumseh with you? He's a Native American, brought a bunch of tribes together,
Great, I'm good.
Iroquois and stuff. He approached the British about joining forces. So he's
Okay,
like,
so
hey,
he's like, hey,
you guys
yeah.
want to fight the Americans? The British would supply the Native Americans with weapons and supplies, and then in turn, the Native Americans would fight the Americans.
And the British would just be like, well, they are savage, aren't
Look at
they?
them.
We don't know where they got all these lovely weapons.
Hello, Governor.
Good Lord, it'd be terrifying. We wish we were in your position. Care for a half-boiled potato?
Brexit. War between the U.S. and Britain was declared on June 12th, 1812.
Okay.
Andrew offered his services and the 2,500 volunteers in his division.
Okay.
President Madison did not at all like Andrew because he had supported Madison's opponent in the election,
Sure.
but soldiers were needed. Andrew and the Tennessee volunteers joined the war and were sent to New Orleans.
Nolan.
No.
Nah.
The soldiers were told they'd be reimbursed by the government.
Oh, boy. Okay.
That's never good. That's never good.
no,
That's
yeah.
never going to work out.
Yeah, for sure.
By the way, if the government ever says we're going to reimburse you, then no one's going to reimburse you.
Yeah.
Back then.
There's another podcast I think we did recently with a similar part, but I feel like it's gone.
What?
Nothing.
So the men got on boats and headed south.
Okay.
Then Andrew got a message from Secretary of War telling him to disband his militia and turn over, quote, all articles of public property to the commander of the South. So now Andrew's furious. He went all this way. Now he's giving up all his shit to another
Right.
guy that he doesn't like the guy anyway.
Right.
He had used his own. Then he used his own money and got IOUs to buy food and supplies to get them back home because they were all out. They were expecting to get to New Orleans and get all their stuff.
Right.
And then these guys took everything they had. And
That's cool. It's a
a
good
cool situation.
Yeah, for sure.
So they marched 500 miles back.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, but again, now people, it just makes people like him more in Tennessee, right? And he's this guy, he helped everybody out,
Right.
do the thing. Now,
Wait, he looks good because he gave up all the weapons?
because he paid for all their food and shit.
right.
to get him home.
Right.
So now dueling is becoming less and less popular these days.
Right.
Not
Now
like
it's
it used to be.
dance-offs.
Yeah, it's a lot of dance-offs.
Yeah.
There's some.
This is the founding of getting served.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what the story is.
Yeah.
Two men, Jesse Benton and William Carroll, decided to duel. Now Carroll asked Andrew Jackson to be his second.
His second meaning the guy who
So when
sort of
there's a
hands you
duel,
the gun.
yeah, the guy who hands you the gun and does all that shit.
Okay.
So the duel is a mess. Carroll was shot in the hand and Benton was shot in the ass.
Oh my God.
Getting
How
shot.
did he get shot in the
Yeah,
ass?
well, that means you had to turn around
Yeah.
and run. So that's not a good thing if you get shot in the
Yeah,
ass.
okay.
That means you're not brave, right?
Right.
Because your butt's out
Right.
in the direction where your face should be.
Sure.
At least that's the type.
Or you're being hilarious and like taunting.
That's right. Yeah, you could be you could be talking with your butt cheeks. So getting a shot in the ass, huge embarrassment. It meant you tried to dodge the bullet. So Jesse Benton's brother, Thomas, was mad at Andrew for not stopping the duel when the guy. So he's basically mad because the brother had his back turned or whatever, and he didn't stop. Andrew didn't stop his guy from shooting. He's like, "Don't shoot him in the butthole or whatever you call it."
Wait, Andrew didn't stop. Who is Andrew? Andrew was with the guy who shot the guy in the butt, right?
Yeah. And
so what is he pissed about?
So he's mad that the guy was turned and Andrew didn't stop him from shooting.
But it's an embarrassment to shoot. Oh, but it's embarrassing to get shot in the ass.
But it's also embarrassing to shoot a guy in the ass.
I do not agree with this.
Well, in these stupid rules of honor that make no sense, it makes complete sense.
Well, I'm gonna argue the nuance.
So now the two brothers, Jesse and Thomas Benton, are furious with Andrew
What?
because one of them
what a
got
scapegoat.
shot in the butt.
Yeah. Okay.
So they keep talking shit about him all over the place. They're talking shit about him. They're talking shit about him. So finally, he's had enough. He finds out that they're staying at the City Hotel in Nashville. He fucking rolls down there on his horse, starts walking around. He walks past the hotel. He walks back, and then the brothers see him. He pulls out a whip.
Whoa.
Jesse Benton then starts shooting.
Okay.
One bullet hit Andrew in the left shoulder, shattered the bone, severed an artery. A second bullet hit his left arm. Andrew got one shot off before he went down, and then all hell breaks loose. Thomas Benton starts shooting, as did John Coffey, who was Andrew's friend, who was there.
Uh-huh.
And then one of Andrew's nephews just happens to be passing by.
My name's also Andrew Jackson.
He sees his uncle down on the ground. So he runs at Jesse Benton and pulls out his knife and just starts fucking slashing him, stabbing him with a knife.
Jesus.
And then Jesse put a gun barrel against the nephew's.
How old? What's the nephew like?
He's probably 4.
Oh my God.
Put a nephew against the.
Put a gun against the nephew.
nephew's heart and pulled the trigger, but it misfired.
Jesus.
And then another relative of Andrew was cruising by, Andrew Donaldson, and then he rolled up and he started fucking shooting. And finally, the guys at the hotel and the other people were like, fucking stop. You guys, you're good. Wrap
Oh,
it
that
up."
used to work.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So they got them to stop. The only person seriously wounded was Andrew Jackson.
Because he got shot twice and popped an artery.
Yeah. He was taken to.
And I bet the nephew's hand hurt from stabbing.
Yeah. That can really.
Yeah,
you
that
can get a
wrist. Yeah, carpal tunnel. Yeah.
Fucking. Ugh. So he's taken to an inn where he just basically ruined 2 mattresses by bleeding into them. So that's bad. That's probably a lot of blood.
I'll tell you who he calls.
Ghostbusters?
Well,
Casper. Yeah. That's how ghosts get in mattresses, by the way.
yeah.
Doctors came and they said the left arm had to come off.
Well, really?
Got to cut that fucking shit off. And Andrew was like, "No, I'm not. That's not me. That's not who I am.
Okay.
I'm not down with that." And they're like, "Well, you're gonna die." And he goes, "Fuck it, let it happen, bitch."
You're not reading anymore. I should point that out.
I'm improvising.
Yeah, ad-libbing
But I'm
some of
assuming
the-
this is exactly how the
I
conversation
don't know
went.
if the Breaking Bad style was in then.
So they put on Slippery Elm, which is obviously
Put on slip. That's a guy?
Plan 2.
Let me get on ya.
No, it was a record.
Oh, they put on Slippery
It's a
Elm?
band.
Yeah.
It's a band.
Hey, we're mostly acoustic.
And then they put on other natural cures, which are all Native American remedies. Irony.
Yeah.
The bleeding finally stopped, and the next morning it was like, he's going to live. Dude's going to fucking live.
With his arms.
But for weeks he could barely move, and people ran the Benton brothers out of town. Everyone's like, "We love Andrew. go, fuckers.
Again, not reading.
Maybe. Most people thought Andrew was an idiot to get involved in duels at his age. They're like, dude,
How old is he?
he's not that old. I don't know why they're thinking that.
Well, I mean, 24 is dying.
It's like 1813, so when did I say he was born?
1760.
1767. Okay, so he's not young. He's in his 40s.
Yeah.
He's 40s. Maybe shouldn't be shooting
Yeah.
bros
No,
on
yeah.
the street.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't You Bros on the Street is the name of my new
charity.
album.
Oh.
So in the summer of 1813, a faction of Creek Indians called Red Sticks
Okay.
started fighting against regular Creeks. The regular Creeks were more assimilated into white society.
Okay.
So these guys,
So the Red Sticks didn't like the.
the more, I don't know what they would call it civilized back then, but they
I would call
assimilated.
it-
They were more like dressing like the whites and living in houses like the whites and more,
Shitty.
shitty people. The Red Sticks are called Red Sticks because they painted their war clubs bright red.
Okay.
So 553 white men, women, and children sought refuge at Fort Mims. And then 1,000 painted, mostly naked Red Sticks
boy.
attacked. Dicks out.
The sticks are going to get a little redder,
There
I
might
think.
be,
Yeah.
might be something else going on right now.
Wait a minute. What?
The Red Sticks attacked and slaughtered every white person that they could. Only 13 people escaped.
Okay.
So
Lot of.
that's what 500. That's a lot of
dead whites.
Over 500. Pregnant women had infants cut from their wombs.
Jesus.
Every white person was scalped. So the Red Sticks came to fucking party. Like they were like, let's do it, or let's do it completely.
Guys, let's
100%.
let's have some fun out there.
I bet when they were coming over the wall, they were like balls to the wall.
Let's go balls to the wall, guys.
All the way. We're going all the way. With
Cock
this.
out, rock out. Let's do this shit. On 3. Ready? Red Sticks.
Now the Tennessee Volunteers were like, we should probably do something about that.
Run.
So they're called into service. Andrew put an ad in the paper.
Okay.
Quote.
Murder is needed.
Already they advanced towards your frontier with their scalping knives unsheathed to butcher your wives, your children, and your helpless babes. Time
Helpless babes.
time is not to be lost. The health of your general is restored. He will command in person. But his health was not restored. He was not.
He was healthy enough to run an ad.
He was still, he's in a lot of pain still. His left arm not usable
okay.
at all. He had to be helped onto his horse. He needed help to write and couldn't feed himself.
It sounds
his
like the
left
arm
hand.
was sort of off.
Pieces of bone, quote, came out of my arm.
Came out of his arm?
And when they did, he would send them to Rachel as a souvenir.
Really, sweetheart.
He told her, quote, I hope all the loose pieces of bone are out and I shall not be longer pained with it. So he just had a situation where bones.
Is that how you keep a girl?
Some
Send
girls
pieces of bone?
Yeah. That's how I got my first girlfriend.
These are still coming out. Hopefully no more.
I still have bone coming out of me.
I really miss you. Miss us.
So anyway, he just every once in a while send her bone and be like, that came out.
Hey, look at that.
Andrew was always very thin and may have been infected with intestinal parasites since childhood that were common in the Carolinas at the time. He had chronic diarrhea
Okay.
during the
Which
Creek.
I imagine was just called bowel movements back then.
Probably. During the Creek campaign, he could barely sit up. On the march, he would lean forward in his saddle as though hugging his horse.
So this is the fearless leader? The man who has one arm that works, one dead one, can't stop shitting on his horse that he's hugging as he rides.
Yeah.
Follow him.
That's our guy. But at this time, the other guys are all probably worse. I mean, it is the 1820s or whatever. He had symptoms.
Did some bone come out? Put that in an envelope.
All right. He still had the bullets in him. The bullets never came out. So lead from the bullets leached into his bloodstream. He had symptoms consistent with lead poisoning. He had abdominal cramping, nausea, headaches, constipation that would alternate with diarrhea. So he had like constipation.
I
and
think
then,
that's
like,
just called diarrhea.
Double diarrhea. Yeah. Because he also had double diarrhea from the other things. So double
Okay.
diarrhea.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a medical term at all. Yeah, again, not reading.
I went to medical school.
No.
Double diarrhea is a thing.
No.
Also, the area around the bullets never fully healed, so he had chronic low-grade infection, which left him susceptible to other infections, and sometimes he just coughed up blood.
I mean, is it safe to say Andrew Jackson's dying?
I don't know, but he's great at parties.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, God. Hold on, I have to shit.
I gotta mail that to my wife. Take that bone out while I shit.
Wait, mail the shit to your wife?
No, don't be weird. The bones.
Okay. What about the blood?
The blood mail to her too, and then
Okay.
save some for me. I'm gonna put it in my hair. I can't stop. Must be something I didn't eat. Now do me a favor, put some Bactine in these wounds. Actually, mail the wound to my wife.
What?
Oh God, I gotta shit more. Bring the horse in here. I need to hug him.
What?
Put something in me.
You're awful.
I'm leaking from shoulder to bottom.
You should be a senator.
I will be.
Andrew, so anyway, back to the finding the Red Sticks. Okay. So at a creek town, Andrew's men slaughtered 176 people and took 80 prisoners.
Okay.
Andrew took a baby and sent that baby home to Rachel to raise.
Hey, it's Bones, sort of.
So this is apparently common.
To just mail babies home?
You would just take a baby and then that baby wouldn't be raised as a Native American, it would be raised as a white person. So it was like, then they'd be like, that one's fine. It's all normal. Davy Crockett was at the attack and he said, quote, "We shot them like dogs."
Davey, finish writing the song. We gotta go. Hold on.
Andrew got the nickname Sharp Knife. That's when the Native Americans started calling him Sharp Knife.
Okay.
Which is not a good nickname.
No.
Andrew attacked more Red Sticks at
Talladega.
Sure. Killing 300. But now his men were over it. They were hungry and thought they should be discharged because they had served an entire year.
And Andrew was like, you want to know what pain is?
But Andrew said that they hadn't served a year because they had gone back home and then taken time off before they went back out. So he said they still had another 6 months to go because there was no war on at that point. Whatever.
Right.
He threatened to shoot them if they tried to leave. One group still wanted to leave, so he had the artillery pointed at them. And then he also stood in the line of fire.
It's a weird twist.
Yeah. And then the guys said, quote, "Let us stay, please."
That's how you change an attitude.
And so they stayed.
Why did he stand in front of it? He was like, I'll die too.
Yeah, he was like, "Fuck it, let's all go."
Honestly, it'd be nice to just have a day away from the toilet.
I just want to stop shitting. For years after, Tennesseans told the awesome story of the time Andrew Jackson threatened to blow himself up and his men to put down the mutiny. It's fucking great. What a great guy.
It
What a great
doesn't
story.
age well.
What a quality story.
Yeah, yeah.
During another battle with the Red Sticks, a friendly Cherokee leader, Junaluska, saved Andrew's life. A Creek Indian was about to kill him when Junaluska drove his tomahawk through the Creek warrior's skull.
Wow.
At that fight, around 800 Red Sticks were killed. 300 women and children were captured. Andrew wrote a letter to Rachel, quote, "The carnage was dreadful.
Bones en route.
All by me." Horrible, though. He had his men count the dead, and to avoid double counting, they cut off the tip of each Red Stick's nose.
Oh, Jesus.
It's just easier to count that way if you have a pocket full of noses.
Nasal scalping?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's easier than, because otherwise you're like, oh, God, what were we at? Were we at 43? But if you're, otherwise you go, oh, just count the noses in your pocket.
We're at 84 noses.
The soldiers also sliced off long strips of skin to make bridle reins. I just threw up in my face.
What?
I just want
Bridal reins?
Yeah,
Like,
for horses. I think people are awful. I'm just gonna point that out. I would look. Just at least it didn't say bacon. You know what I mean? We got a little bit of a break there. A little bit of a break.
yeah, but you still said bacon.
This was a big battle in the war because the British were close to supplying the hostile tribes with weapons. So on the march back, Andrew burned every native village he came across, and then he destroyed the Creek food supply. So both the friendly, the Red Sticks, and both the hostile, the Red Sticks, and the friendly ones who had been fighting them were now on the verge of starvation.
Cool guy.
Yeah.
Because a non-Red Stick Creek.
Was helping them.
Right.
I mean, helping them out. But now he's like, fucking, you guys,
Twisteroo.
psych. Andrew was made Major General. Or was he?
He was already Major General.
Yeah, that must have been a mistake.
Now
Maybe
he's
just
General Major.
General. Part of his job was negotiating a peace settlement with the Creeks. He came up with a plan.
I bet it's bad.
No! he kicked the hostile Creeks off their land and made them move in with the friendly Creeks.
See Mark Burnett?
Problem.
So wait, he's just now
So that'll be more land for the white people, and then he's making all the Native Americans go live on a smaller space.
I wonder who they're gonna find issue with.
Well, so that was weird because all these Creeks who had just helped him fight the Red Sticks
they're like, "What
were
is your
rewarded
deal?"
by having to live with the Red Sticks who they just fought against.
Awkward.
So super cool.
But then still, you're gonna get on the same page eventually and be like, "Yeah, let's kill Andrew Jackson."
Yeah. That's the way to go. At this time, Florida was claimed by both the United States and Spain.
Okay.
Why, I don't know.
Yeah. Neither should have it.
Andrew heard the British were dropping supplies at Pensacola, which was occupied by Spain, and he asked for permission to take troops down and take care of that situation.
Okay.
And President Madison was like, no, just get
Andrew,
some-
just can you chill for a minute?
how about you
Can you just settle down
relax
a little?
for 10 seconds? How about you relax for 10 seconds?
Chill out.
Do you have enough noses? So he said, just get some intelligence. Find out what's going on. Stay off Spanish soil.
Right.
So Andrew started sending letters to Spanish Commandant Gonzalez in Pensacola.
Okay.
Just basically talking shit through letters.
It's tweeting.
He wrote, it's tweeting. He wrote Gonzalez that he better not be harboring Indians or the British. He wrote that the Spanish had sheltered, quote, murderous, barbarous, rebellious banditti. Andrew then called up his militia, which was what the president said not to do.
Right. No, it seems like he's definitely not listening to orders.
Word then came that British Rear Admiral Cockburn had burned the
Hello, I'm the
house.
Rear Admiral. The name's Cockburn. Oh, yuck it up, assholes.
Well, it's funny because,
I understand.
but it's funny because
I've also taken male lovers.
your name is Cock. Like
All right,
like a
back to
burning
work.
cock, like a gonorrhea-filled cock.
Uh-huh. And I'm the Admiral of the Rear.
Thank you. I didn't want to say it, but you're
Yes,
you're the bottom.
And I've taken male lovers.
Yeah.
That I've gotten burning cock from.
No, we're trying to insinuate that.
There's
We're
no need to insinuate what happened. I'll be honest, I'm in an unfulfilling marriage, and recently I've taken to having sex with some of the men.
not- So it's less.
Now, laugh it up if you must that I've gotten gonorrhea from a few of those boys, but that's right. The Rear Admiral, who likes to be the Admiral of the Rear, whose last name is Cockburn, has a burning cock. Now, on to goddamn business.
just from
The joke's been made, boys.
just from the troops' perspective, all the fellas out here, we
Yes.
were just hoping to have a little fun with that, and now it's more like a medical lecture.
Have fun if you want, but gentlemen, I'm telling you, I am head to toe gonorrhea. I'm gonorrhea in a trench coat.
All right, so we're just gonna take off, and everybody, we're gonna go find another Rear Admiral.
Now, look, get yourself in a loveless marriage. See what happens to you.
Okay, you're a bad person.
You stick around.
Andrew wanted to do something after the White House was burned down because that's not cool.
Right.
So he took his troops. He had regular army, Tennessee, Mississippi militia, a large band of Choctaw Indians, and headed for Pensacola.
Okay.
This was a direct violation of Madison's orders.
I think it
who
was
had
a
said,
complete
who
violation.
had said, don't go to Pensacola with
Right.
this troops.
On we go.
He sent a message to Commandant Gonzalez demanding he turn over the fort.
Okay.
And Gonzalez was like, no,
Okay.
I'm not going to, no.
Right.
And then Andrew's troops stormed Pensacola, and Gonzalez surrendered. But that was just the town. The Spanish officer at the fort rejected the surrender. He's like, I'm not down.
He didn't sign it.
Yeah, he's like, Gonzalez is a fucking idiot.
Right.
And so Andrew started attacking the fort. Then the British blew it up so it couldn't be taken over. They're like, fuck this.
Nice, British.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't have it. Nobody can have it.
Nobody will play.
So Andrew then went to New Orleans. British gunboats were on a nearby lake, and he declared martial law in New Orleans, although he had no authority to do that.
And I don't think they ever overturned it.
On December 24th, a treaty was signed in Belgium ending the war.
Okay.
But there's no phones or anything, so
So it takes a minute.
no texting. So it would have to be ratified by the U.S. government before it was officially over, which would happen on February 16th, 1815. But no one in the area knew right now that was
Okay.
what was happening.
Right.
So they kept fighting. The British attacked, and Andrew won big time. like big time, just fucking slaughtered the British. Several high-ranking British officers were killed. The troops surrendered. Hundreds of British were dead, just laying in the fucking swamps. Like, they would find bones for like another 100 years and shit.
Well, I know what to mail.
Yeah, girl. The victory at New Orleans was celebrated across the country. He was called the Green Backwoodsman and had bested the invincible British. So people loved it. They're like, it's
Right.
fucking great. You slaughtered a bunch of the Brits.
Right.
Fucking awesome. We love that. I love that about you.
Right.
Like, it's awesome. You come out of the woods,
Settle
you're
down.
like, oh, hit
Settle
in the
down.
pudding or whatever. You know
What?
what I mean? I know you people are.
Unbelievable that you stabbed me during pudding.
People?
There are rules to war.
So now people in New Orleans are like, let's get back to our lives. Like, it's all over. That shit happened. Let's fucking get back to living.
Right. Let's make weird drinks and boots.
But Andrew kept martial law in effect.
Okay.
A member of the Louisiana legislature published an article complaining about Andrew's abuse of power, keeping martial law in effect. So Andrew had him arrested to prove that he was
During martial law.
to prove that he wasn't abusing power. He had the
That'll show him.
yep. And then the legislator appealed to federal Judge Hall, who upheld the appeal and sent Andrew a writ of habeas corpus. He's like, fucking knock that shit off. Dude.
Okay.
Wrap it up.
Right.
Andrew then seized the judge for abetting and ordered him marched 4 miles outside of the city and released.
Okay. What, like a dog that you don't want?
Yeah. He just gonna have him marched out and dropped
Now
off
go
in the
on,
middle of
get.
the swamp or whatever.
Well, you don't have to.
That's kind of a life sentence. in
Go.
that time.
Well, don't just stand there with those puppy dog eyes. Leave.
Get out of here.
Get out, Judge.
You like Florida? Start walking.
You'll find a new home. You'll find someone who loves you. You'll find a courthouse
Why
that
are
will
you
respect
crying?
you. Yeah, well, because I've grown attached to you over that 4-mile ride. What? You're my favorite judge. Now get.
Thank you.
Get.
Have you seen Bad Lieutenant 2?
Go!
Bad Lieutenant 2 in New Orleans, it like has nothing to do with. You want to talk anymore? Are we done?
Now I don't. Blew it. Bad Lieutenant 2.
Yeah, this is a flood.
Nobody has a bench that
This is
deep.
a
Get out of here.
There's a dance number.
What? Now, later, heretic.
But word came that now word comes finally the treaty's been ratified.
Right. Good news.
Andrew then ends martial law. He's like, all right, I guess that's that. Judge Hall was allowed back into the city.
Hey.
Hey, sorry.
Awkward.
But as soon as he got back into court, he ordered Andrew there to explain why he should not be held in contempt of court.
Martial law's back on.
Andrew came but refused to answer questions, and then the judge fined him $1,000, which Andrew paid.
Okay.
When he stepped out of the courtroom, a enormous crowd cheered him.
Right.
Yeah,
Nice.
America. Andrew then returned home, but it was a long trip because everyone wanted to see him. Quote, he was feasted, caressed, and I may say idolized. They took upon him as a strange prodigy, and women, children, and old men lined the road to look at him as though they would an elephant. So he's now a hero nationwide.
Elephant. Okay.
As part of the Treaty of Ghent, Andrew was ordered to remove white settlers from Native American territories in southern Tennessee and northern Mississippi. Andrew refused.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't sound like his MO.
No, it's not really his jam. So he just refused what they call the law,
Right.
the order of the law.
Oh, again.
He was so popular he could get away with it, though.
Yeah.
Madison didn't want to fire him and alienate voters.
Jesus, we can trace it all the way back
What
to there.
are you talking about? At this time in Florida, the Seminoles were made up of an alliance of earlier tribes and people who weren't like traditional Native Americans, including Creoles and runaway slaves. So it's just like a big
Sure.
mishmash of people.
Kind of a
down there.
ragtag, right.
During the War of 1812, they had built a makeshift fort, and there were now around 300, and they had, quote, a large quantity of British muskets, powder, and other supplies.
Nice.
So the Secretary of War told Andrew to warn the Spanish governor at Pensacola to clean out the fort or let the United States do it.
Okay.
So the Spanish governor was like, go for it. I'm not two shits.
Godspeed.
Not two shits. I don't
Yeah.
fucking care. So Andrew had a gunboat sent, and the gunboat...
That's a boat shaped like a gun, right?
Yeah, it's a boat shaped like a gun. We don't have those anymore, but they used to be...
You're the boating
There used to be
expert.
also goats shaped like guns.
Goats?
My dad was a farmer. but those
Maybe a whiskey farmer.
they made those illegal because
you want me to read? Or do you
Governor
wanna-
Feinstein
Governor Feinstein?
takes away our guns.
No, Dave. Wrong episode completely.
I think so.
No, you're three ago.
So they start shooting at each other, the fort and the gunboat, and they started firing heated. So they would heat up cannonballs until they were glowing,
Jesus.
and then they would shoot them.
So you
That's
made
fucked
cannonballs
up.
worse.
Like, that's
yeah.
gonna slice through some people.
Yeah.
Like that's a hot ball. This guys in the fort yelling "hot ball," and everyone's
yeah.
jumping and running around.
Yeah.
So
And the rear admiral's like, I understand what that feels like. Those are my genitals.
okay, can you go back in your?
I've
room?
enjoyed many lovers.
Can you go back in your room?
Absolutely, I'll go back in my room. I'm sitting in an ice bath because, boy, it's like someone put hot coals on my penis. Woo! The rear admiral.
What about going to a doctor?
Nah, I don't trust quacks.
So one of these flaming, glowing hot balls landed in a gunpowder stockpile.
Oh, God.
And the fort exploded, and everybody died.
Oh, my God.
All the Seminoles inside died.
Jesus.
So that had an ending that was not expected.
Right.
So there's peace for a little while, and then the Seminoles started raiding again. There were more out there.
Right.
They started raiding.
They might be a little angry now.
Now they're, it's escaped slaves. It's Native Americans,
Right.
it's smugglers, it's pirates.
Yeah.
It's just all kinds of people. So Andrew told President Monroe he wanted to go into Florida and take care of business. So let's get some fucking shit. Let's get
Do a
some
little
shit done.
TCB.
So Monroe would later say he didn't authorize the attack, and Andrew Jackson would say he got a letter from a congressman that authorized the attack, but also told him to burn it. So you go with whoever you think is.
I'll go with the non-Andrew Jackson
Yeah,
camp.
that's probably right. So Andrew headed to Florida basically to take care of the Native American Seminole problem, and then he just started rolling through and killing Indians everywhere, including a group of Creek. What started as a guise to arrest Seminoles was turning into a full-scale war and occupation in Florida. So he's just fucking going apeshit down there. He recaptured Pensacola, that the Spanish had, and put American troops in the fort. The Spanish are now furious.
Sure.
Some Americans worried that Andrew had the makings of a dictator. He was violating international law.
Yeah, I mean,
He executed 2 British citizens, and the English press went apeshit, calling him, quote, a Yankee pirate with blood on his hands.
well, this is before the Daily Mirror had puns.
That's right. In D.C., they thought he was trying to start a war with Spain so he could invade Mexico.
Okay, interesting tactic.
I call it D.C., but it's probably just Washington. But I'd rather call it D.C. because it's shorter.
Whatever you want to do.
He had basically declared war without congressional approval. He was portrayed as what is that?
Asshole.
He was portrayed as aided by squatters. So they were in the news. They were portraying him as aided by squatters. Squatters like the lowest of the low, right?
Right.
Of white men, anyway, as they say, who were
base.
dressed up as, quote, white savages. After his run through Florida was done, Monroe returned the forts to the Spanish to avoid war, and later a treaty was signed, and the U.S. got Florida and Spain got Texas.
Okay.
Now, back in D.C., people want an investigation. They're like, what the fuck happened with you in Florida, dude?
Right.
That shit was crazy.
Doesn't matter. The Spanish got what they wanted. It's fine.
No, you went bug fuck.
No, you went fuck bug.
Bug fuck.
You went fuck bug.
No, that you literally defined like we didn't have that word before you went down to Florida. You went bug fuck, man.
I had some fun. What can I say?
That's not fun. You killed a bunch of fucking people.
In the name of justice. Hello. Good Lord.
So Henry Clay demanded censure. Andrew Jackson told all the legal authorities it was between him and President Monroe and nobody else.
All right.
He also threatened to cut off the ears of some senators because they dared
back.
to investigate and humiliate him on the national stage.
Hand me that knife. I want to look menacing.
Really didn't like ears.
Gonna cut your ears out.
Not an ear fan.
Or noses.
So he had a.
I cut a mouth out, but it's already a hole.
You can cut him out.
Oh, God.
He had a simple explanation of his actions against Native Americans. It was, quote, the right of retaliatory vengeance against inhumane, bloody barbarians. So
Yeah, caused by
Right. Also,
the
they're-
aggressor.
They were living there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like if you came in and moved into my bedroom, I might be mad.
You're being a real dick, Dave.
Yeah. And then I
We're
cut,
trying to sleep in here.
cut your head off.
No, my ears.
After Florida, a huge financial downturn came and people moved west looking for a new start. Andrew Jackson had his government salary, so he built a new home on his Hermitage property. That's what he called his joint.
Sure.
The old home became slave quarters. He now owned around 4 dozen slaves.
Great. Good
So
guy.
he's just rolling people.
Cool
owning.
dude.
In 1821, the U.S. decided to shrink the size of the army, but no one wanted to tell Andrew to retire because he was a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
So they made him governor of Florida.
Okay, sure. A role that would be held by a lunatic until today.
So Andrew and Rachel went to Pensacola and dealt with the turnover from the Spanish to the Americans until the end of the year. And then after that, he was done. He turned it over to the new governor. Quote, I am truly wearied of public life. I want rest, and my private concerns imperiously demand my attention. His health, still not great. Quote, for 4 months I have been oppressed with a violent cough and costiveness constipation, which I think is just constipation. Costiveness, I believe, is just constipation.
Must be really bad.
Yeah, like double constipation,
Yeah.
which we talked about earlier with the diarrhea. From 1821 to 1824, he lived at home. His supporters kept trying to convince him to run for president. They're like, dude, you've got to fucking do this. You are so awesome. The way you rolled through Florida, that shit is off the hook.
It's a good voting base, too.
He didn't want to be president, though. He wanted to stay at home and enjoy his life in Tennessee. Rachel really didn't want him to be president. So Andrew said he would not campaign for the presidency. But if people elected him,
Oh, no.
well, then he would be his duty to serve.
Is that right?
Yeah. A little loophole there, it feels like. So he was then elected to serve in the Senate.
Okay.
But,
Oh, right, because it was done by...
well, he said, if anybody elects me to something, I'll
Right.
do it because that's what you want.
Right.
So he gets elected to the Senate. But this time his journey to D.C. was slow because he was getting mobbed by people at every stop. He's just people are just fucking apeshit for
Right.
him. He's this huge hero. He had to switch from horseback to a stagecoach to keep from being recognized.
What?
Yeah, had to get off his
Wow.
fucking horse. Like, that's how he's like Jim Carrey in the fucking 90s.
Yeah, he's like Sanjaya.
So
Go ahead.
he did not like being senator, though.
Okay.
He thought it was tedious. It was mostly boring speeches and socializing. He also did not fit in Washington, D.C. at all.
Because he was a huge asshole?
One congressman described him as, quote, uncouth looking.
Uncouth looking.
Thomas Jefferson thought Andrew had savage instincts and once observed him so overcome with anger that he was left speechless.
Okay.
Now, at the time, speechlessness was considered the trait of a primitive man.
Okay.
His fiery temper permanently marked him with the elites of D.C. So he's like, they see him as an uncontrollable, uncouth
Force.
dude, not a force.
But
They're looking down on him.
Okay. So they're not worried about him. They're just like, get out of here.
Yeah, they think he's a fucking idiot.
Okay.
Andrew was blunt with his opinions and also took quick resentment to anyone who disagreed with his opinions. A few months later, he went back to Nashville, and his supporters still wanted him to be president. In 1824, Andrew Jackson got 154,000 votes. John Quincy Adams got 109,000 votes. Representative Henry Clay and Secretary of the Treasury William H. Crawford got 47,000 each.
So he just...
Now, that didn't mean he was president.
Okay.
So the electors met in D.C. in December. For 2 weeks, no one knew who the president would be. Andrew went to D.C. Rachel came with him this time. Now he wants to be president. Now he's
Okay.
like, I want this shit. When the electoral vote came in, it was Andrew Jackson 99, Adams 84, Crawford 47, Clay 37. But the Constitution said if no candidate had a majority of votes, the House would choose the president from the top three
Right.
finishers. So Clay's fourth, so he's out. Right? So now it's between Crawford, Adams, and Jackson. Now remember, all these guys don't fucking like him.
Right.
Clay is a Harvard-educated dude. He doesn't like the fucking Western country bumpkin. He's a member of the House of Representatives. He didn't like any of the choices. Quote, I consider whatever choice we make will be only a choice of evils. So he made a deal with John Quincy Adams. Adams would make him Secretary of State if he swung the vote to Adams, And that's how John Quincy Adams became the 6th president of the United States.
Okay.
Andrew Jackson is fucking furious
Okay.
because he won the vote,
Yeah.
but he didn't get elected.
Imagine winning the popular vote and not being the president.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I can't. He resigned from the Senate again and returned to Nashville. President John Quincy Adams was not Andrew Jackson. He was a loner who abstained from pleasure and vices. He rose well before dawn every morning to read the Bible in Greek, German, French, and English.
Oh, God. Wait, good Lord. I mean, you're really hedging your bets on God there.
Got to get him all
All
over.
right, just in case he's German.
He walked for exercise and calculated the distance walked. He'd measure his stride at 2 feet 6 and 88 hundredths of an inch. So, I mean, on the spectrum.
Right. Yeah. Insane.
Before Adams was even inaugurated, the Nashville Gazette declared Andrew a candidate for president in 1828.
Okay.
So they're looking forward to the next 4 years.
Right.
They didn't ask him, they just did it. And that's what happened, and it turned into an ugly campaign. Clay called Andrew a dangerous military chieftain, which is another way of saying back then a savage.
Sure.
Right? Andrew's friends bought newspapers to make sure the propaganda went their way.
Okay.
Andrew's opponents charged him with Negro speculation, which is also known as slave trading, which, for some reason, owning slaves was okay, but trading them was not. Oh, God. We are such a fucking stupid country.
Just so dumb.
Like, just so fucking stupid.
No. Rules are rules.
You can own them, you just can't trade them.
Foolish
My
man.
God.
Good
What
Lord,
kind of
tradition.
fucking asshole are you?
Tradition.
They brought up all his duels and portrayed him as a down and dirty street fighter who'd stab a man in the back with a sword hidden in his cane.
This is true.
Oh, well. His friendship with Aaron Burr was used to suggest he was a traitor. And then they went after Rachel.
I kind of remember this a little bit from the cheese one. There's
Yeah.
some.
They accused Andrew of stealing another man's wife.
Right.
Rachel was labeled an adulteress. Papers called her, quote, a dirty black wench, an American Jezebel, and weak and vulgar.
American Jezebel's an FX show. Right?
Yeah, that's a really good FX show. One editor said she could no more pass in polite company than a gentleman's black mistress.
Just great
What?
time. Mwah. No, it's 1800s.
Another described Rachel as fat with tanned skin who looked like an old washerwoman.
Oh, my God.
So being white-skinned meant you didn't work. But if you were tan, that meant you were a laborer. So that was an insult to say you didn't have fair skin.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's cool.
It's cool.
Super cool.
Yeah. They made fun of her backcountry divorce and the fact that she smoked a cigar and corncob pipe.
I'm attracted.
So this is the 1830s version of city liberals making fun of the flyover states.
Right, yeah.
And it was the first Westerner that had a chance to win the presidency. Westerners were considered squatters and intruders back east. Many had no land and were uneducated. They were looked down upon. They were considered crude, boastful, distrustful of civilization and city people. They had a love of liberty and were made fun of for their degenerative breeding. The first time Andrew had run for president, it invoked, quote,
The first time he didn't. He was like, maybe.
It invoked, quote, sneers and derision of the men in power in Washington. But now he was a threat. Americans saw him as a man from the woods.
Now he's a force.
Yeah, who had what it took to clean up the corruption of Washington.
Oh, my God.
What? Andrew Jackson looked the stereotype of a Western man. Tall, lanky, carried harsh lived life on his face. He was known to to do things without deliberation and justify his behavior. He totally lacked any statesman-like qualities. He was happy to not have them. But to those raised in the woods and harsh lands of America, he was Old Hickory, a self-made man who came from rough, tough woods of Tennessee. They loved his rough edges. He wasn't fancy John Quincy Adams. His foray into Florida meant he was a man who didn't take shit. His treatment of Native Americans said he'd get done what needed to be done.
Yeah, there's a correlation between murder and legislation.
That's never gone away.
No.
Or it's still pure American?
Oh, yeah, no. Still
Yeah.
tough guy.
Yeah.
It's like when Ted Cruz shoots like a shotgun with bacon on it. He's like, that's good bacon.
goddamn right. Yeah, that's totally
Yeah,
the
you're
same.
like, oh, okay, that matters.
He was
He's trying to make it so that I can't shoot an Uzi with bacon on it? No thanks, liberal.
Andrew was the first presidential candidate to be boosted by a campaign biography, and the first not to have the education and breeding of the elites. The biography said real Americans were Jacksonians, not the snobs of Washington and the eastern cities. So, running on anti-corruption, he pointed to the Clay Adams election mess that had happened 4 years earlier as an
Right.
example.
Which was corrupt.
Yeah. And Andrew won. He was the first Westerner elected president. The Jacksonians were now calling themselves Democrats and gained majorities in the House and Senate. What? Does it sound familiar? But it had been, so it's a totally different, it is as if a totally different alien force of people have come and taken over the government.
And then out of fear, assimilation.
And they've taken over all branches of the government.
Right, yeah.
Imagine. Yeah. But it had been a brutal election, particularly for Rachel. And on December 18th, she felt an excruciating pain in the left shoulder, arm, and breast. For 3 days, the doctors bled her, and on the fourth day, she died. They had to pry her body away from Andrew. He blamed his opponents for her death.
Jesus.
After a period of mourning, he came to Washington. The presidency at that time paid $50,000, but he had to pay for all the parties and receptions.
Which we've heard about.
And the job also required expensive tailored clothes. His expenses were more than the presidential salary. So being a president at that time, you had to fucking dish out more money than the 50K.
Right. So he's Brewster's Millions in the White House.
Yeah, he's total. So he's a populist president, obviously. The previous 6 presidents had been rich dudes picked by other rich dudes. While Andrew was rich, owning over 100 slaves, and had shitloads of property, but he was a people's president. People came to celebrate his inauguration. A journalist quote, "It was like the inundation of the northern barbarians into Rome, save that the tumultuous tide came in from a different point of the compass.
Oh, my God.
The West and South seemed to have precipitated themselves upon the North and overwhelmed it. On that memorable occasion, you might tell a Jackson man almost as far as you could see him. Their every motion seemed to outcry victory." 50,000 people watched the inauguration speech. The audience rushed the barrier to shake his hand and eventually had to force a path between the people to get down.
I have to go to the toilet.
Always. Always. Someone invent a toilet you can just put on you.
That's what I'm looking for. My vice president will be whoever can make a toilet that stays on my ass when I'm walking.
People streamlined into the White House for hours. Andrew quickly nominated his cabinet. For Secretary of War, he chose John Eaton, his friend and protege. John Eaton had just married Peggy O'Neill Timberlake. Peggy's husband had just died, and she didn't wait the usual year of mourning. So the town turned against her, shunning her and calling her a hussy. Even his cabinet did it. The whole affair blew up Andrew Jackson's cabinet. So everyone's just calling her a whore and not letting her be part of the deal. Andrew proposed abolishing the Electoral College.
Oh, please, Andrew, one more try.
He was also not down with the Bank of the United States, a privately owned bank held by rich men to control the financial businesses of the government.
Start selling them to me.
Which is Alexander Hamilton's idea. You might see that in his play, but probably not. There were also a big tariff fight. After a while, Andrew asked his entire cabinet to resign. Even the VP went. He finished his first term without a vice president.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. Before Andrew, presidents thought the best way to deal with Native Americans was to civilize them. This led to the 5 so-called civilized tribes: Cherokee, Creek, Chickasaw, Choctaw, and Seminole. Previous presidents signed tons of treaties with tribes. Thomas Jefferson had urged shopkeepers to keep the Indians in debt, so they had to agree to land concessions. It's cool, right? It's cool. It's cool. Keep them in debt. And then the Cherokee assimilated into American life the most. They established a written language, produced books, farmed, created court and school systems, converted to Christianity, adopted a constitution, and elected a principal chief, John Ross. Some wealthy Cherokee even owned slaves and lived on plantations. They ended their tradition of men being hunters and women being in charge of agriculture. Now men handled the agriculture, and women stayed home and baked bread and wove cloth. They literally did every single thing asked of them. But Andrew Jackson didn't think there was any future for Native Americans living in the East. He figured tribes should live on federal territory out west, not in states. But he said the move would have to be voluntary.
No, we have ways of making it voluntary.
Coincidentally, in 1828, gold was discovered on Cherokee land.
Oh, dear.
That's the worst.
Game
If
over.
you're a Cherokee and you find gold, you fucking bury that shit.
Yeah.
White people really wanted it, it turns out. So Georgia started...
Funny how we like some colors.
Georgia started passing a bunch of state laws restricting Cherokees' rights. Like Cherokees couldn't testify against whites in court.
Oh, that's a pretty big one.
They couldn't sell land.
Big.
They couldn't mine for gold.
Okay. On their land.
And couldn't publicly dissent.
Well, it's pretty,
Covered all the...
Yeah, you're kind of pickling them.
The Cherokee then claimed exemption from state laws. And the state said no. And then the tribes appealed to the president, who was like, no.
No, you know who I am, right?
Oh, no, I hate you.
No, I'm the guy behind all
What are you
this.
talking about? Then on May 20th, 1830, Andrew Jackson signed the Indian Removal Act authorization, which authorized the president to grant unsettled lands west of the Mississippi in exchange for existing Indian land. So a land swap, except
Sure.
you don't have good land.
Sure. Fair.
Not everyone agreed. Henry Clay and John Quincy Adams thought the act was a stain on American history. They said Andrew was an ignoramus who had no restraint or respect for the rule of law.
Well, let's follow him to the gates of hell.
On December 6, 1830, the president's second annual message to Congress began, quote, "It gives me pleasure to announce to Congress that the benevolent policy of the government steadily pursued for nearly 30 years in relation to the removal of Indians beyond the white settlements is approaching to a happy consummation."
Consummation.
Yeah, that's what it says.
It's weird.
The Cherokee took it to the Supreme Court, and they lost.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But then a year later, the court ruled on another lawsuit, which ruled for the Cherokee,
Okay.
so that they can stay on their land, according to the
Okay.
Supreme Court. The problem was someone would have to enforce the ruling of the court.
Well.
And if there's not a president or a body that will enforce the ruling of the court, then what does the court's ruling mean?
Nothing.
Nothing. Andrew said, quote, "The decision of the Supreme Court has fell stillborn.
Oh, Jesus.
And they find that they cannot coerce Georgia to yield its mandate." So basically, fuck you, law.
Right.
President Andrew Jackson was saying since the court had no way of enforcing its mandates, the president was free to do as he pleased. Cool. At the start of his second term, Andrew traveled to England, to New England, to see if he could win over people there who pretty much hated his guts. Andrew was super into slavery. He owned tons of slaves and worked with his postmaster general to censor anti-slavery mailings from abolitionists. He called religiously motivated abolitionists monsters, and he criticized the anti-slavery movement as, quote, "the wicked design of demagogues."
Sells it. He sells it. So we have another salesman.
Harvard decided to give him an honorary doctorate.
Sure. Well, yeah. Okay.
Say that again. Harvard decided to give him an honorary doctorate because why wouldn't you? A lot of Harvard alums looked down on Andrew, considering him rough, uncouth, and uneducated. They were very upset. The angriest was alum John Quincy Adams. His cousin was the president of Harvard. He said, quote, "As myself, an affectionate child of our alma mater, I would not be present to witness her disgrace in conferring her highest literacy, I love that I fucked that up, her highest literary honors upon a barbarian who could not write a sentence of grammar and hardly could spell his own name." They used to actually read stuff he wrote and make fun of it.
It was just really caveman-y.
Yeah. Harvard just said they did it for all presidents and they couldn't not do it because of partisanship.
Sure, you got to serve him the meal.
In Alexandria, Virginia, a man attacked Andrew Jackson, hitting him in the face and drawing blood. A local guy offered to kill the attacker if Andrew would pardon him. Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen to you.
I mean, I'm really praying.
Andrew turned him down,
Okay.
saying no one should take revenge for him. He should do it himself.
Sure. Different than, well, silver lining, maybe.
Now, there was another financial panic. Banks collapsed in New York and Philadelphia, and Andrew's small government love and bad monetary politics had done their thing. The recession would last 7 years. In January 1835, in D.C., an out-of-work painter raised a pistol 10 feet away from Andrew and pulled the trigger. The gun did not shoot. He then whipped out a second pistol and fired, but the same thing happened. The gun did not shoot. No bullet came out. Andrew charged at him to beat him with his cane, but the crowd tackled him first. When police tested the guns, they both worked perfectly. The assassin frequented congressional debates and was influenced by rhetoric he heard in the papers. He believed the president was a tyrant and the root of all evil and had to be eliminated. Oh, and he thought he was heir to the English throne.
Almost had us.
He was ruled insane and not prosecuted. The Indian Removal Act was still being fought by the tribes. Yanaluska, the Native American who had saved Andrew during the Red Stick War, remember the guy?
Yeah.
He went to meet with Andrew Jackson, but after a couple of minutes, Jackson said, quote, "Sir, your audience has ended. There's nothing I can do for you."
Try the meatloaf.
And that guy said, "Regret."
Yeah.
Chief John Ross and the majority of opposed Cherokees were around 20,000 in number, but there was a smaller group of Cherokees, around 300 in number, who decided removal was the way to go. They got the name the Treaty Party. The two groups did not like each other, and they both called the leaders of the other group a half-breed. Andrew wanted the Cherokee to sign a new treaty that would require removal, but he did not go to Principal Chief John Ross. He instead approached the Treaty Party,
Right.
who represented a far, 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 far smaller group of Cherokee.
Sure.
And they signed. On May 23rd, 1836, the Senate ratified it by a single vote. Oh, that's weird. The Senate went along with it? Oh, that's weird. All the Cherokee now had a 2-year deadline to leave their ancestral homelands. After 2 years, anyone left would be removed by military force. John Ross explained to the U.S. government that the Treaty Party was not authorized to sign anything for the tribe. Not two shits were given.
Yeah.
A new election rolled around, and Martin Van Buren was elected. He was a huge Andrew Jackson suck-up. Andrew's time as president ended just before his 70th birthday. He went back to Nashville. Crowds cheered him along the way on the route. Things were not great at the Hermitage. Andrew Jr. was a bad businessman, and there were thousands in debt. Andrew had to sell land.
A lot of parallels.
But for once in his life, his health was actually decent. He credited it to his new patent medicine, which included alcohol, opium, and cocaine.
Sure. Well, I mean, shit.
He recommended it to everyone. Shit's fucking great right now.
Yeah, sleep's gone.
Sleep's good.
Sleep's out. Sleep's out. Sleep and food are gone.
You want to talk about corn? I would like to talk about corn.
Corn's great.
I like corn. Or maize.
Maize.
I like maize.
Maize.
I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to get up and run.
Maize. You ever make a maze out of maize? Imagine that if you made a maze out of maize. Take a hit of this. Snort this.
So Van Buren vowed to continue all of Andrew Jackson's policies, which included the Indian Removal Act. The Choctaw and Chickasaws were removed first, while contractors were hired by the government to provide food. So, because they were private contractors, they cut costs and gave the bare minimum to the tribes.
Right.
The tribes were served rancid meat.
It's a good kind.
Next, the Creek and Seminole were rounded up and moved. Chief John Ross told the Cherokee to plant crops. He said if they made any preparations to move, it would be considered acceptance of the bullshit treaty. So nobody made any preparations. Meanwhile, Georgia was holding land lotteries and giving their land to white people.
Shit. It's just terrible.
In mid-June 1838, 2,000 federal troops stormed Cherokee homes and dragged the people out with only the clothes on their backs. Some were just pulled out of the crops. They were forced into stockades at gunpoint. In the melee, families were separated from each other. Looters then plundered their houses, taking whatever they wanted. They even dug up Cherokee graves and took silver jewelry the dead were buried with. You okay?
Yeah, feeling really positive about us.
They started to get sick in the stockades. First dysentery and fever, then measles and whooping cough. There were about 3 or 4 deaths a day. Over 30 stockades were built to house the Cherokee in Northern Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee before moving them west. It'd be weird to put people in pens.
Yeah, imagine.
Quote, at Ross's Landing, the place to which most of the Georgia Indians were brought, the scenes of distress defy all description. In many instances, they were dragged from their homes without change of clothing and marched 120 or 30 miles through heat and dust and rain and mud. In many cases, barefooted, lodged on the hard ground, destitute of shelter and from dews and rain. They had, of course, become very dirty, and on that account, they have been reproached as degraded wretches. On arriving at the depot, they were required to give up their horses and ponies, which they had brought along. Refusing to do so, men, women, and children and horse were driven promiscuously into one large pen made for the purpose. The horses were then taken by force and auctioned off to the highest bidder and sold for almost nothing. Good thing we're over that kind of thing. They would be marched to the Indian Territory, now called Oklahoma. Summer was a terrible time to travel, so Chief John Ross appealed to the government to suspend the removals until September.
Nope.
Well, if the government agreed, he promised the Cherokee would self-remove, and the government agreed. So Chief Ross was looking at moving 13,000 people 800 miles. Chief Ross organized 13 detachments of about 1,000 people. Each would have a physician, an interpreter, a wagon master, and a commissary agent. So one doctor for 1,000 people. On August 28, 1838, the first detachment left Georgia, 710 people. Most of them walked, almost all walked. Along the way, there were 9 births, 54 deaths, and 24 runaways. They walked through the heat, the rain, and through snow. Their clothing was soaked when it rained. This would be called the Trail of Tears. Estimates of the dead are between 2,000 and 5,000 Cherokee.
Holy shit.
Either way, an insanely high number for 13,000 people. Many died in the stockades before they ever left Georgia. Others died when they arrived in Indian Territory. In the spring of 1839, the last detachment arrived in Oklahoma. On the trip, Ross buried his wife in a shallow grave along the trail. She had given up her only blanket to a young girl and then fell ill. Ross arrived to an area dominated by Native Americans who had been moving west as early as 1807. The government was established by the Treaty Party and others who had already arrived. Chief Ross came with a reunification plan for a new government. The old settlers and the Treaty Party rejected the plan. Ross's group believed the Treaty Party were preventing reunification efforts. So on June 22nd, 1839, one of their leaders was dragged from his bed and stabbed to death in his yard. Another was ambushed and shot. Another attacked with knives and tomahawks, his skull broken and his body mutilated. Cherokee law stated that any man who ceded land without Indian government consent was subject to the death penalty. 25 million acres had been stolen from Native Americans. So that's a lot if you think about it. If you're
Seems like most.
not horrible or whatever. So in 1845, good day, Andrew Jackson died. His funeral was held at the Hermitage. I'm probably saying that wrong. People are going to laugh at me, but you're all jerks. 2,500 to 3,000 people attended his funeral. He was buried next to Rachel on the grounds. His death was a big
He
deal.
finally mailed her all his bones.
His death was a big deal around the country. Let's see if I can get this to go right. Okay, so
It'll go right.
they had a obviously a big thing in Washington for him, a procession. The poor crowded along the street. It was neither crackers or squatters lining up to see the last hurrah of Old Hickory. Instead, it was, quote, poor white trash who pushed the poor colored folk out of the way to get a glimpse of the fallen president. And that was printed in a paper. And that white trash had appeared in print as early as 1821.
Oh.
But white trash then became popular
In a good way?
after the parade. No, not in a good way.
No. White trash was like a term for white trash.
For Andrew Jackson's followers.
Right. For white trash.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When Donald Trump took office, he added a portrait of Andrew Jackson, his favorite president, to the Oval Office. A couple of months later, he visited the Hermitage in Tennessee. On November 17, 2007, Trump had a ceremony honoring Navajo code talkers. He did it in the Oval Office, right in
that's where
front
he-
of the painting of Andrew Jackson. Quote, I just want to thank you because you are very, very special people. You were here long before any of us were here, although we have a representative in Congress
This is the worst.
who has been here a long time, longer than you. They call her Pocahontas. Then he turned to one of the honorees and said, quote, but you know what? I like you. You are special people. Anyway, that's how we got here.
Oh my god.
You stop being funny at the end.
Yeah. I wonder why. Oh my god, it's so hard, man. There was something I saw in the past couple days where it was like deep depression is like at the highest level it's
Yeah.
been.
Yeah.
And like, I just, it is hard. It is hard to hear.
So
Because, because intimidation and popularity, for whatever reason, in this country will prevail.
and we've been here. We've done this before, and we've been doing it repeatedly. Like this is people like Trump came from out of nowhere. No, he didn't. It happened before.
Yeah.
And all the reasons why it happened are still there.
Boy, that clip where he says, they call her Pocahontas, but you, I like you.
So
You're good.
It's the same guy, making fun of his speech, looking down on him. It's all there. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
He's a guy who uses
difference-
terror. He uses terror.
The difference,
Puts people in pens. It's all the same.
the difference is that Andrew Jackson would leave office.
We'll see.
Sorry. This Thursday night, I'll be at the Sycamore Tavern for a show at 8 p.m. called Thirsty Thursdays. Annie Letterman, Ryan Sickler will be there. Just want to end on a really positive note.
We're also going to be doing a benefit for rent control in Glendale,
California.
on July 17th. It won't be the doll, but we'll be doing stand up in Glendale. I'll give you the date to come, but it's on July 17th. Me and you, and there'll be other people there too.
Join us. All right. Well, I hope everybody feels good and is happy and feels positive, and things are fine, and we're gonna be good. And I think we should just say, everything is fine and everything is good. And anybody who worries that things aren't good and fine, just remember, it's fine. And everything's okay, good, fine, and fun. And I think we're losing a little bit of the fun, because it's also fun and fine and good and fun and fine, and everything's good. And don't worry, things are fine, things are good. And we'll sign cars, and we're on tour, and things are good, and things are fine, and don't worry about a thing. Things are just good. So we'll see you. Thanks for listening. This is the Dollop. That's for Dave Anthony. Things are good. I'm Gareth Reynolds. Some people call me Gary. It's actually Gareth. Things are fine, and don't worry. Everything is going to work out, and we're going to be fine, and it's good. And thank you.
Away we go.
Jesus Christ.
Was that a good test?
No.
You point? Does that mean we're ready to go? Check me out on the camera. Hi, sexy. You're listening to the Dollop on the All Things Comedy Network.
You can check out the video of this podcast on YouTube. I don't think it's comedy. FYI.
Gareth,
Yeah, Dave.
you know.
We're jumping right in with biz.
You know hiring is difficult.
Oh, God, you don't need to tell me at Gearcore. I mean, what a nightmare it's been.
Yeah, you guys have
Nightmare
a tough
year.
time. Well, let me tell you,
We're in the red. It's a nightmare.
there's one place where you can go where hiring is simple, it's fast, and it's smart. A place where growing businesses connect to qualified candidates, and that place is ZipRecruiter.com/dollop.
I feel like you told me about this before, and I floated it up to myself, and something happened with Gearcore. There must have been a
Yeah,
lapse.
you got a bad board situation over there. You also got bad management, which you could all find at ZipRecruiter.
Okay.
ZipRecruiter sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards, but they don't just stop there. At Gearcore. I'm speaking at Gearcore right now.
You're talking to the CEO, goddamn.
With their powerful matching technology, ZipRecruiter scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and invite them to apply to your job at Gearcore. What do you guys? What kind of people are you hiring right now at Gearcore?
We're looking for all types. We're looking for, people who are good at, accounting management, and, anybody who's able to sort of, kind of cross a lot of T's, and, anything that needs to be cross it, anything that needs a dot, give it a dot.
This all sounds really, really not focused. Maybe ZipRecruiter can help you out with that. As applications come in, ZipRecruiter analyzes each one and spotlights the top candidates so you never miss a great match. So effective that 80% of employers who post it on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. So we're talking first day for GaraCore.
We need it, too, because that's huge. I've been thinking about doing an undercover boss.
Yeah, and I guarantee you can find a lot of cat lifters, because I know you got a problem with that.
Unbelievable.
With high results like that, it's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the highest rated hiring site in America. And now, our listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/dollop. That's ZipRecruiter.com/dollop. DOLLOP. You know.
You know me.
ZipRecruiter.com/dollop. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
And GaraCore, making dreams realities, kind of.
What?
We need a slogan guy, too.
You need a lot of guys.
We need a slogan guy.
The whole thing is
got to fire whoever came up
whole
with
thing's
that.
a wash.
Yeah.
And called it, quote, his jam pad.
Jam pad?
I'm the fucking hippo guy.
Dave, okay.
My name's Gary.
My name's Gary. Wait, is it for fun?
And this is not going to become the Tiggly podcast.
Okay.
This is like anarchy.
On a 5-part coefficient.
Come on, Rube, let's play.
Now hit him with the puppy.
You both present sick arguments.
No sleep till hippo.
No sleep till hippo.
Action partner.
Hi, Gary.
No.
Nicely done, my friend.
Order in the court.
There's a lot of swearing in that, and I want to apologize to any of the nuns listening who don't swear and they get upset with that kind of thing, as I recall from Catholic school.
Okay. Not going.
To Catholic school for 2 years.
Sure.
And Sister Catherine, once I had...
We haven't said what the podcast is yet.
It's the Dollop. This is an American history podcast. Each week, I read a story from American history to my friend.
Gareth Reynolds, who has no idea what the topic is going to be about. Now the business is out of the way. Let's have some fun in.
Yeah, I mean, there was a book, and I just added a lot of swear words in, and Sister Catherine found it, and I got in a lot of trouble. I put dick and balls. I added words into. It was a book that we're reading in English class, but I added.
Dick and balls.
I put some flair in
Sure. Notes for the author.
because I didn't think Herman Melville really knew what he was doing.
You mean Herman Balls Melville?
Boom. Gareth.
Yes, Dave.
This podcast, The Dollop, is also brought to you by Mack Weldon, a premium men's essential brands that believes in smart design and premium fabrics, and we love it.
Love them.
Like, it's not even.
Yeah.
It's the real deal.
They'll last the apocalypse.
Yeah. I know that's probably going on a limb. That's not their
No.
That's not their guarantee. It's what we think.
I talked to them over there. GaraCore reached out.
You're in the apocalypse. You'd be like, it's fine. I have my Mack Weldons.
Yeah, and that'll be all you'll have.
That's
You'll
all
just
you
got a
need.
motorbike, eating the heart of your enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With sweet underwear.
With sweet ass undies.
They believe
Just
it.
fit nice
So good
fit.
and soft.
Yeah, soft. The right amount of thickness and softness. I don't know how they did
Totally.
it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they made it by NASA.
They believe in smart design, premium fabrics, and simple shopping. Mack Weldon will be the most comfortable underwear, socks, shirts, and undershirts, hoodies, sweatpants, and more that you ever wear. They have a line of silver underwear and shirts that are naturally antimicrobial, which means they eliminate odor, which I know is good for you, which is an important thing for you.
Yep, for
which is
sure.
one of the things that you need
Yeah,
in your life.
right, of course.
They want you to be comfortable, and if you don't like your first pair,
For the love of God.
therapy's an easy. Said you're kind of an idiot, like
Okay.
a basic, genuine
Right.
idiot.
Well, we know.
Fortunately, there's something called Talkspace for you. The tripping.com/dollop. Did I say that?
Yeah, 8 times. Mother, what was it?
I've forgotten.
Okay. Well, maybe one more, just to be safe.
I invited her. That was. I really thought we had this all worked out.
Yeah, no.
That fell apart.
Yeah, well, she doesn't get the cut of ads anymore. I told you.
You had, that was your chance to really make some money here today.
Yeah. And mother wants me to. She's not gonna. She wants me to let her know when to jump in.
Oh,
she's So
no, you can jump in whenever.
That's
Also,
what I said.
do you have any other nicknames that Gareth
Oh,
used to
God,
be called as a
no.
child?
No, it
That's
was
not-
always just Little Garfy.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Garfy, Little Garfy.
Yeah.
He wanted to be Spike when he was young.
Oh, what about Nigel though?
Yes. Wee GP.
Yeah, my Uncle Nigel called me the wee GP because it's Gareth Patrick, and I hated it. I'd be like, stop calling me the wee GP.
So this episode hopefully will be up
Boy,
on...
you lost interest real fast in that, huh?
Yeah, I don't care about you
Good
guys.
Lord, you asked, you prick.
I asked, but then what your mom was saying was fine. I was totally in, and then you started talking, and I drifted off, and I
got
started
nuts.
thinking about
He's
how
got nuts.
Aaron looks good over there in his Queen shirt.
Yeah, he does.
Now is that the band, or you just like Queens?
No, it's Elizabeth the First, man, my queen.
This episode will hopefully be up on YouTube. We start doing that once in a while. It'll be on the ATC channel, right? That's the idea. So we'll be up on. When do you think you'll put it up? Does it take long to? It'll be no editing.
Yeah. It should be.
Tomorrow? No, this will go up Monday night for us.
Yeah.
So
Monday
Tuesday.
night, maybe Tuesday.
Okay.
That
So
works.
there you go. If you want to see pictures or what Gareth's mommy looks like.
Weird, yeah.
Oof,
Super
yes,
weird.
very weird.
Also, congratulations to your Packers. I didn't get a chance to say that.
He's
So,
supposed to be my friend. You
what are you
understand that?
talking about?
Yeah. He's been
I've
texting
been
me for
rooting
2 days straight about
for your team through the whole
Yeah.
playoffs.
They're out of the playoffs, asshole,
Not
and
what
you know
I've been-
this.
Not what I've been seeing. 1922.
Really weak.
Year of our Lord. Janos Burgess was born in. Here's one. You ready for this one?
Sure.
Yazbarani, an agricultural town in central Hungary.
Jesus, what just happened?
I shouldn't have done that to myself.
Yeah. What's his name?
Janos Burgess.
Janos Burgess, and he's born in the middle of Hungary.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was an only child.
Okay.
His dad liked booze and hated Janos.
Oh, well, Dave, there's a
So-
little Janos in all of us.
Hey! So he was sent to live with his grandparents when he was 3.
Okay.
So 3 is already worn out his welcome. You're like, good
Right, yeah,
God, this
yeah.
thing is awful.
Go, Janos.
When he was 12, they sent him back. The grandparents are like,
We're
all
done
right,
with him
we've-
too.
Yeah, it sucks.
He's the worst.
Yeah, you don't have, what's your Hungarian accent?
Very similar to some of the other accents from Europe.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
At
We're
50
tired of Giannis. He
Yeah.
is a bad kid.
No, Janos.
Yeah, we wait a while, but he's not good.
It's amazing how
Terrible child.
I feel like I'm in Hungary right now.
Yes, yes. Why wait? Eat Snickers.
When he was 15, he ran away to Budapest.
Sure. Wow. Dave with the shush.
And
you know you're with a baller now. Budapest.
Excellent.
he was taken in by a butcher in his family.
Oh, boy.
That happens.
Okay.
A lot. If you're on the streets in Eastern Europe, often a butcher will take you in.
Sure. Right.
Common.
Right. Yeah.
He was a pilot in the Royal Hungarian Air Force.
Okay.
Janos claims after the war he worked for U.S. military intelligence, although there was no record.
That seems to be the good cover job for the lunatic a lot of the
Working
times.
for-
yeah,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
just like, I'm also in the FBI, just so you know. You know, I shouldn't be telling anyone this, but I'm actually a CIA.
Well, yeah, but you can't. Yeah, because CIA, you're not supposed to tell
corroborate.
anybody.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I work for the CIA.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't be talking about it, but you seem cool. I actually work at the Pentagon. So,
So
don't tell anyone. Pinky swear this.
They don't piggy swear.
They absolutely stronger than the oath of office. I've always said.
They slice an eyeball
Yeah.
and they exchange fluids.
What?
Yeah, clearly you haven't been in the CIA.
I work for them.
He was arrested by the Soviets and charged with espionage.
Okay.
His trial lasted 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So.
They really crank him through there in the Eastern Bloc countries.
Yeah.
He was sentenced to 25 years hard labor and 7 years.
Jesus! After 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
That's quite.
I imagine there was like a hello, how are you?
Was it the People's Court?
No. Oh, that is 7 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
basically.
edited down.
Yeah, but still, it's not a lot. It's not like there's a lot of time. They do like 9 a day. They're like,
Yeah.
That's why Judge Judy's so great.
Judge Judy is the most highest paid person on television.
Yep, and deserves every penny of it.
He was there for 8 years in a gulag and then released. And then Janos went back to Hungary. He got the nickname Big John
Okay.
because Janos means John.
Yeah, you knew that, right, Mom?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we
yes.
both knew that.
Yeah.
Mother and I share a love of history.
In 1855, he met 27-year-old Elizabeth Newell, who was waiting for her husband in a restaurant. And Janos asked her to dance, and soon she was getting a divorce from her husband and marrying Janos.
Based on the dance.
It must have been a good dance.
So these are different times.
No, this still happens.
What? In clubs and bars?
That's how I met my wife.
Oh my God.
There was a revolution in Hungary.
I wish that was true.
The next year.
Okay.
You wish there was a revolution in Hungary?
No, I wish that you had met your wife dancing.
I met her dancing.
Yeah, I wish. You dance? There's no way.
I love dancing.
Oh, no way. I can only imagine, Dave,
Yeah.
when people are dancing.
No, it's.
Do you want to dance, Dave? Fuck them. Fuck
that's
this.
Exactly what happens.
Yep.
So there's a revolution in Hungary. They overthrow the communist government. That doesn't go well. The Soviets roll in with tanks,
Okay.
kill everybody, and then that's the end of that. Now Janos is on the wrong side, so he had to get out of Hungary now.
Okay. Wait, so he's trapped?
Well, he would help overthrow the government, and then
Right.
the Soviets roll in. He's like, I guess I got to go.
Okay. All right.
So he's granted political asylum in the United States of America.
Okay.
It's our country.
Yeah, that's
The one we
absolutely
love.
What do you always say, Mom? Best country in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He and Elizabeth arrived in 1957.
Okay.
They went to California and worked on a farm.
Okay.
It's an immigrant thing. We make everybody work on a farm.
Yeah. No, that's what you and Dad had to do.
We did.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
did, yes.
After John got a job welding and pipe fitting, they had 2 kids, Johnny and Jimmy. For some reason, Jimmy has a different last name.
Well,
couldn't-
why do you keep the so
in
the first names
all-
are super close?
Well, it's Johnny Burgess Sr. and Jr., and then the other kid is Jimmy and has a different last name. I have no idea why he has a different last name. Everywhere I looked, I couldn't figure it out.
Well, Dave, this might be the time when kids got to pick their last name.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be
Remember
great?
that phase?
That's why my kid's name is Finnegan Butt.
Yeah.
Butt Poop.
I'm Finn Butt Poop. I'll be doing your taxes.
That is currently 50% of
Your
his vocabulary.
grandmother was Joan Burgess.
Joan Burgess.
Is that true?
It's true.
All
Maybe
right.
She's related to this wonderful man.
Born in 1920.
Oh, maybe his mom.
This is
go with
getting
that.
a little too real. No.
It's a relative.
No.
Big John started a landscaping business. He hated unions and enjoyed fighting. He was a scary dude. Other men were afraid of him.
Okay. So that does sound like a relative of ours now. Yeah.
He had a cruel sense of humor and was a bit reckless.
Okay.
He became pretty familiar with dynamite as he used it to blast wells and trenches.
Whoa. Pretty familiar
his,
with dynamite is a fun way of putting it.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. It seems like pretty familiar means that you're into dynamite. You use dynamite a lot.
Well,
Oh,
there
that's
he
not
is.
what I was picturing. He sort of looks like like if Vincent Price went straight. Like if he was
Yeah.
like, I'm done with the acting game. I'm going to get into dynamite now.
He's probably a little bit older than he is when we are in the story. He
Sure.
might look a little bit younger here.
This is Big John.
Maybe a little
Okay.
bit younger there.
Yeah, he's definitely younger there.
So he keeps building up his business, and by 1972, he's a millionaire.
Okay.
He has 3 businesses and 26 employees. He buys Elizabeth a restaurant to run, so things are just rolling.
Okay.
It's the best time ever.
So this is the part of the story normally when you just gotta savor the moment because it's all about being terrible.
No.
Yeah, and Dave denies it.
I have listened to that.
Okay.
video.
Yeah.
I do know.
Okay. Okay.
He owned 3 Mercedes, but unfortunately lost his license for speeding so much.
Oh wow. Okay.
So he bought an airplane.
Better. That's better.
And
Safer.
He would fly from job site to job site doing crazy low altitude stunts, sometimes with the boys, Johnny and Jimmy, in the plane.
Okay.
He liked to buzz water skiers on a local lake or fly under highway overpasses.
Whoa! What is he doing? So he's a stuntman who's not being filmed?
I mean, he's got clearly has some I don't give a shit
Issues?
what's happening
Yeah.
thing going on.
Hey, Johnny, Jimmy, whatever your last name is, let's get this water skier. Come on, we're gonna go under the 405.
So yeah, that's a weird thing, and everyone kind of gets to know him.
No, a lot of times if a guy flies planes under bridges, people figure, this is a guy I should know. I'm gonna know this man.
So at home, he enjoyed working on inventions.
Just like us. Okay.
He was always working with wires and smoldering out in his workshop.
So this man has a a soft spot for dynamite, and now he's getting involved in wires and welding.
Uh-huh.
And okay, so his hobbies are
great.
sniffing around what I could call a potential issue.
He had good ideas, but didn't have enough patience. And was often beaten to patents by other people.
Okay.
The marriage was not good.
Okay.
They both drank often, and they fought.
Yeah. Well, okay. Sure.
So low in the 70s.
Yeah. Right.
Big John thought Elizabeth was having affairs.
Okay.
He said she was a nymphomaniac and using the restaurant to bang dudes in.
Oh, so it's like Ozark, but with banging.
Except also, but then don't buy her a restaurant.
What? No, this. But there's still like issues. You know what you got to do, Big John? Get rid of that restaurant.
Yeah,
that's how
then
you
it's
fix your
fine.
marriage.
For her part, Elizabeth would take off for days at a time.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Sounds a little
So you
more
can imagine
nefarious.
where he was coming up with the "you're fucking other dudes" thing. It's like when she goes out on a Monday and comes back on a Thursday.
I'm gonna have to say, Dave, that's not the restaurant's fault.
I feel like it's all the restaurant.
No way. No way.
This is
No.
what happens when you open a restaurant.
Yeah. Order the 109. You get to spend a week with the woman who runs it.
There's just one item on the dessert menu.
Oh, yes.
Liz?
Yes. Liz Cream. I'm coming with you. Let's get out of here. I've always wanted to see Aspen.
What?
I want to go to Aspen with you. You ordered.
Big John made.
Married.
Okay.
This is my restaurant.
Yeah.
I love you.
What?
We need to be back by Thursday.
Okay. Big John made Johnny and Jim work in the restaurant at night. And summers they worked landscaping. They would actually have to sleep with the crew at night.
Okay.
But like they wouldn't go home at night when they were landscaping. They would sleep.
I'll tell you who respected the guys, the crew. The crew's definitely like, these. All right, I'll tell you what, these guys are, they might be the boss's kid, but I like the boss's kids.
So he would give them a haircut just once a year.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right after school ended.
Sure.
He would shave their heads completely with clippers.
Sure.
And then they go out to work in the summer, and their heads would burn and blister in the sun.
Sure. Okay.
I guess they didn't have hats then either.
It was the one time when people don't have hats
Yeah.
on the show. So at no point, is he doing that as some sort of psychological thing, or is he just not learning, boy, you know, it'd probably be better to shave their heads in September
I'm sure it's
when they're head back.
Oh, well, he also beat them.
Good. Okay. Good. Well, we have clarity, so that's good.
With belts, electric cables, boots, coat hangers, whatever he had. He'd roll into the room in the middle of the night while the boys were sleeping and just attack Johnny. Once when Jimmy was 6, he put his elbow on the table during a meal and Big John punched him in the face, knocking out 4 teeth.
Which is a bigger etiquette foul? Knocking
But you
out...
know what?
Oh, Dave, of course, has his back.
Well, is he going to put his elbow on the table again?
I'll tell you what he's probably not going to do is put his elbow on the table.
No,
or he's probably not going to use his elbow for anything anymore.
Yeah.
He's,
I mean,
yeah.
that's all part of the magic of Big John's training.
How come you wear an elbow pad on your right elbow, Johnny? I don't want to talk about it.
Johnny started drinking at 12 and smoking pot at 14.
Okay. Those, by the way, in England, standard numbers for youths.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a bit young,
today.
I think.
It's not.
No, come on.
It really isn't.
I've seen your country.
Yeah. All right, Dave.
Johnny turned his rage on Jimmy, who would then turn to his parents for protection. At that point, Big John would beat up Johnny, and then afterwards scream at Jimmy for being a snitch.
Wow. You can't. How do you teach both sides of that in
Well,
an
he is.
evening? I know.
He is. He's taking care of both ends.
What did you tell him? No, you don't tattle on people.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they get beat up.
Big John hated snitches.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
So Elizabeth filed for divorce in November 1973.
What about the situation? Was she not digging? There was
I don't know.
an issue she had?
I don't know.
Man.
But she moved into a trailer behind the house.
Oh, that's... Okay. Sure.
That's where you go when you're divorced.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big John sold the landscaping business and started flying to Lake Tahoe to gamble.
There's just...